game changes are cooler.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to
welcome
the
to
Smite
you.
Update Show 9.11. We're super excited to be here for so many reasons, not the least of which is the Runescape event coming, which y'all got
Good
to see the
audio
trailer
levels
for
today,
earlier.
Smite.
But there's just so many things to talk about. We have balance, we have a ton of new content, like always, like with every show. So we're super excited to have y'all here. And I mean, let's just get right into it. I'm joined by Clumsy and AJ, so welcome aboard, you two. Super excited to have everybody here.
You look very festive.
Well, can't hear
We
AJ.
do.
Oh, this looks even more ridiculous than I thought. Okay.
Or
It looks
clumsy.
great. I don't know what you're talking about.
1 for 3.
So yeah, it makes us look taller. It's intimidating. Now we hold the power in the conversation. So either way, let's dive right into some balance. We have game modes and map type stuff up first, and we're kicking it off with some ranked shenanigans, I guess. So what's going on with that?
I
Please.
just want to message out the usual ranked reset.
The
gonna
huge.
happen in this update. So players
Turn on Ajax's mic.
Diamond and Grandmasters
Thank
will
you.
be reset to 2750 MMR. You know, the usual.
The usual.
Yeah.
So just some ranked switcheroonies.
It
So
will be the last split of the season, though. So, you know, now's your
keep it in
chance. If you got any big moves to make in that ranked leaderboards before the end of the year and before everything gets bigger reset, now's the time.
yeah, climb that ladder. So also a horrifying reminder that it's November already. So shout out to that. Next up, Duel and Joust having some changes come to kind of both of them. What's going on with those two?
Now, this is a very exciting one. This is one that
Crazy.
we've been talking about for a while. So, in this next
They're
update,
swapping their maps.
Joust and Duel will be switching.
I feel like they
their
should have
maps.
done that originally.
That's wild.
Joust 3v3 and
Isn't
ranked
that kind
Joust
of
3v3
originally
will
what
be played
everybody
on the
wanted? 'Cause it
larger
makes more
Jade
sense.
Corruption
Ooh.
map, and Duel will return to the
Yeah.
season 3's Chinese Joust map.
Ooh, nice.
Including that, there's some extra notes on the patch notes just to confirm that the changes that are intended for Duel are staying on Duel. They're not going with the map. So the item rules that go with Duel are also going to be moving over to the other map and vice
Okay.
versa. So Duel is still going to play like Duel, and Joust is still going to play like Joust. No other changes to those rule sets, to items, or no buffs or nerfs. Just swapping the maps.
Got it.
I feel like
still
most
super
That's a
players
cool.
will
very
be
exciting
happy with
change.
that.
Oh,
Essentially,
yeah.
pretty much 2 new game modes.
Yeah.
for one
those
update.
players, yeah, absolutely.
True. So super cool. Adding to that, Arena looks like it's also getting a bit of a visual change. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We are going to be returning to Cthulhu's Arena.
Spooky.
Yes, it's, the holidays, and now it's time to give thanks for
the madness,
the great
yeah.
madness in the sky,
Yeah.
and other sorts of deep insanity and horror. But no, that map is just really cool, really pretty. So we're just kind of cycling through some of our arena maps that we have, and we want to make it a kind of a surprise. So who knows when we'll cycle it back again? Maybe we'll change it up, but. Yeah, that map was really beautiful. We wanted people to get some more time to spend on it.
Yeah, I give thanks for my madness all the time. If it weren't for that, I would not make it. Next up, Conquest, also getting some changes to it, it looks like.
Yeah, couple Conquest changes.
A few.
We'll go into these in a little more detail later in the show when we talk about some other balance. But we are first doing one change where we're extending the Invader's Curse a little deeper into the jungle. People were invading so hard that they went all the way through the curse until they were outside of the curse again. And then they had to run all the way back through it. That's been
Powerful.
extended, so you're going to stay cursed if
Stay
you try to
cursed.
push
Okay.
through. There was some fringe testing of
funny.
some green buff invading that
Yeah.
we had to go ahead and shut down. Sorry about that. But,
That's
you know,
hilarious.
that's how it goes.
Actually.
And then we also have some very exciting changes here with the red buff holder, the Manticore.
Yeah,
monster.
mages
Really?
be praised.
Yes. We'll talk more about
Red's
mages
getting nerfed
soon, but,
again.
we're decreasing the max health and the magical protections of that specific buff hold monster to help those mages who really struggle to clear it by themselves. This should make it a little bit easier.
Nice.
Okay.
Noticeably so.
Cool stuff. Lots of map changes. Not going to stop there, though. Next up, a little bit spicy, I believe.
Ooh, yeah.
Looks like we have some domination talk, huh?
More game modes in
More
this update
game
already?
modes?
Yes,
In
there
this
is. So the domination map is going to be returning for the first Smite night of the update.
Okay, it's Smite
so
night.
that'll
then.
be
November
I thought they
19th?
were
week from
putting
this
another
weekend,
game
yeah,
mode
next
into
weekend.
Smite. I was like,
It will
please
also
don't
be
split up the
available as a
player base.
custom mode for
Please.
those of you who want to play even more domination. And even more excitingly, we have done some touch-ups to the mode, some design changes, which is pretty exciting. So, yeah, there's quite a few, actually. First of all, the XP and gold and player level have been changed from level 3 to level 5 and 1,500 to 3,000 to give you more of a jump start on that map.
Yeah, kick it off.
Yeah, exactly. Kick it off strong. Some layout changes. So there's extra paths in the middle of the capture point have been carved out, so you can go more easily from side to side. That middle point is a lot more risky now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
People can attack you from more angles. It's a lot harder to hold.
I
and it's
honestly
quicker
don't
to
remember.
rotate, which is really nice.
Ooh.
The
Buff
domination
camps
map.
have been relocated. There's a lot of changes there. You'll definitely want to pay attention to where the new buff camps spawn. You can get them a little bit more easily while
Yeah.
still kind of defending a point, roaming a little bit. Fountains have moved up, so you're a little bit closer to the action, so you don't have to run across that bridge. I believe you still can go on the bridge if you want.
Yeah,
If you
I'm giving
felt
that a
like
try.
it.
But it's just deeper into your own fountain, so that doesn't really do much for you. But it is there. But you'll be respawning a lot closer, so you get back to the action faster.
This one's spicy.
Yeah, there's also a completely new mechanic here.
Yes.
Ooh.
This one's pretty big. There's going to be now little portal guards that actually swap sides on each team.
Awesome.
And that allows actually the team to go through a portal to go either on the left side or the right side of the map.
Yeah.
No, these are going to just keep falling. I knew this was going to happen.
Bearing the crown of the gnome child is
Yeah,
hard.
exactly. Well,
No,
I just
well,
got
first
the
of
one.
all,
Is
there's a
making a
portal.
change
so this
to
is
a
gonna be
game
a new
mode
portal.
that is
Also new.
only
That
going to be
allows you
available
to go
on
through
Smite
that,
Night.
and you'll either
a
going to
big
end up on either
change.
the left side or the right side of the map, depending on where the current
Is it,
portal
though?
guard is.
Yeah.
And that's going to swap during the match too.
Right. Exactly.
So the cool thing about this is that domination as a game mode, it was it's kind of chaotic. Everyone
Yeah.
once you've played it enough, you kind of knew what was going on, where you needed to control the control points. But now with the portals and the portal guards, it lends each team to have their own kind of dedicated side.
Yeah.
So everyone's kind of fighting over the middle. That makes sense. That's the contested point. But now whichever side your portal's going to be on, it's kind of like your home point. It makes
Okay.
it's a little bit more logical for teams to kind of keep their home point safe as well as go for the contested points, rather than all 3 points just being contested all the time.
Got it. Okay.
But then it can swap, and it can also be countered if you kill their
Yeah.
objective. And then finally, there's a set of changes involving the Sand Guardians, which are effectively the towers.
Yeah.
The objectives that hold each point. There's going to be some better visual feedback there on the pie wheels and timers. The Sand Guardians are not going to capture until a capture point changes ownership, so that makes it a
Cool.
little bit easier to take a point, so
Yeah.
it doesn't like keep respawning towers. If I
Whole
kill your
lot of
tower, then you have
domination
to defend the point
balance.
with no tower for a longer. Encourages it chance
You
for it
know.
to change ownership.
Got it.
Sand Guardians also will not
Nice
regen.
mode.
Again,
Ooh,
same
top
goal there.
tier
'Cause
game
a
mode.
very
Whittle them
common-
down.
Putting a
Yeah.
lot of
very
effort.
common experience in old domination would be that
A lot
one
of
team
effort
very clearly and strongly captures and defends
into
2 points and
domination
never really
balance.
loses them and the game ends.
Yeah, never lets go.
Exactly.
And even if you do take one, it's
Yeah.
really hard to catch up because they've gotten such a huge lead in the ticket count already. So we did a lot of changes here to encourage the more changing of ownership over each point. So there's
Cool.
going to be a lot more combat and just it's a lot more aggressive. So Sand Guardians don't regenerate.
I'm about
The
to get a
Sand
lot
Guardian
more
aggro has been
aggressive,
reduced,
Ajax. If you
and
don't
the,
give me some
Sand
damn
Guardian
conquest
towers now
changes
use
after you're
Joust
trying to
AI,
frickin'
which
fix
they will not
domination.
attack enemies
Okay?
outside of the capture.
You gotta learn about
point.
aggressive.
Essentially, that again makes them a little bit easier to capture. They used to kill archers before archers could even kill them, right? So
Got it.
now it's fair. So yeah, quite a few changes in that game mode.
Seems so.
Yeah, shout out to the level design team for really putting some extra love into it for this Smite Night event.
Smite Night event and custom game potential. So, bully your streamer into doing it. Don't do that. That was please do it.
Yeah, let
Talk
us
to your
Or
streamer.
do.
Yeah. And let us know how the balance changes
Or
go. Like,
do.
I'm also the team's very curious, but I'm super curious if you guys prefer the Portal Guardians. If you guys like the way the map has changed now. The
If
balance.
you're doing competitive domination in-houses, let someone know so we
Yeah.
can come in there and check them out. Yeah.
Hype it up, yeah,
Or at
for
least
sure.
record it, make a video out of it. We want to see how it goes.
Ranked
True.
domination win.
Ping me on Twitter. It'll be good.
Please don't.
I'll watch it. All right, cool. So next up, that's kind of
Alright.
it for the map balances, which it was a lot. I mean, we're always doing a lot. If you ever wondered, this weighs 15 pounds.
So
but,
literally
next up,
no conquest map.
next up, we're going to move
Well, I
into
guess that's a lie.
some
The red buff got nerfed. Okay.
some balance changes, like the general balance changes, but we're doing it a little bit differently, which I'll let AJ explain for the finer part here in a second. But essentially what we're doing is we're going to hit things a little high level and change the flow of the show a little bit, As we continue to grow, we want to get y'all the information in a more digestible manner, and we think we found a cool way to do it. Obviously, we'll be looking for y'all's feedback, but I'll let AJ do the explaining because he obviously knows what's going on more. So AJ, what's the new flow?
Yeah, and those of you who are following along the patch notes, you'll notice that they're also in a different order, different style. This is meant just to give us a little bit different way of communicating about each patch, each individual balance change. Really, these balance changes tend to be part of larger goals that all work together.
Yeah.
But we would write these little blurbs about each individual change, they would end up feeling really repetitive sometimes, or like things would be all scattered around. So you would read a change about hunters, then you'd read like 7 other changes, then come back to another hunter change. Felt a little awkward. So really, we're not trying to
Like a new
say any
organizational
more or any less.
technique?
We're just trying to do it a little bit differently. So
Yeah. They're
patching
patch
the
notes are in a
patch
different order. Therefore, the show will be. Please let us know how you feel about it, and we'll be happy to adjust. It's our first attempt at a big change like this, so
That's kinda funny.
there's gonna be some iterations, there's gonna be some adjustments. So
That's
the
kinda
way
funny.
we're gonna do this today, instead of alphabetically or going from items or gods or whatever, is we're gonna talk a specific balance goal, and then we're gonna talk about all the changes that are in this update that fit that goal.
Got it.
Now, some changes will be mentioned in more than one place, and some goals even can contribute to other goals.
Yeah.
So, just to show a little bit more of the complexity that goes into all of this thought, I think it also helps. But
Okay.
yeah, we're going to do that in just a moment. But before we jump right into that, I do have one more quick section just to comment on a little bit of the balance team reflecting on 9.5 and how
some
things have
reflection.
changed since then, There's a lot of discussion in the community about it. We still see
Always.
it pretty much every patch. So we kind of wanted to just talk about it a little bit here right now. So
Floor is yours.
the thing
Yeah,
is,
let's-
Just
the
sit
first
down by the
thing is
campfire and let's just
we
have
want
a
to
little
acknowledge that there's
fireside chat.
two groups of players, right? One group gets really worried about every buff because they loved the 9.5 update
Yes.
and they think that made the game feel so much better.
Yeah.
And when they see new buffs, they get worried that every buff is going to undo all this hard
and,
work.
And a quick recap as well. The 9.5 update, we're talking about the time
The
to
time
kill
to kill,
changes,
yeah.
where health and scaling across the board, increased level. Everyone got a little bit tankier, just for context sake.
Right, and most importantly, that change was a 40% base protections change to the early game. So it was a little bit more early game. But there's also a group of players who they didn't really feel like they needed 9.5. They knew the game was high kills at that time, but they liked it like that. They could position themselves. They felt like they could avoid it. So they've been continually asking for early aggression. Really, I think what's important is that we really met our goals for 9.5. Number one, right? We wanted to specifically make the early game of Smite less punishing. And we did succeed at that quite handily. The amount of early surrenders dropped by like 33%.
Wow,
The
that's
amount of total kills in a match didn't actually drop that much at all.
Which is good.
But most of them got shifted into the mid and late game, right? That was really good. But those changes were pretty intense because we really wanted to make sure that early game hit what we
wanted
it
players
to
to
do.
Yeah,
feel
we
the
Right,
swung
we
for the
wanted
fences
people to
on that.
feel it, and we wanted to meet our goal. So, but realistically, somewhere in between is actually probably the right place to be.
Yeah.
So both of these groups of players are really valid in their concerns, right?
Absolutely.
The players who want more aggression, we have been delivering that little bit by bit. A good amount of that has been
Games
actually in
are
the conquest
for
map,
sure
Yeah.
as opposed to the items or the gods
early
doing more damage, especially in the
snowball, so I
early
don't know
game.
really
Yeah.
what
Those
that
of you who are
factors
worried about
into
every
their
buff, I just want to
stuff.
reassure you that even a big buff like 40 base damage and some scaling to Thor is still not nearly as much as 40% base protections was to every single god. We're still in a much more forgiving early game of Smite. Even after all the buffs we've done
I feel
this
like
year,
saying
all
we're in
the
a much
changes,
more forgiving early
still
game is
significantly
kind
harder to
of-
die in those first few levels than it was
It's not
before.
really
Yeah.
forgiving
So
if you
overall,
lose the game in 10 minutes.
That's
or
the
win
way
the
we're
game
going to
10
keep
minutes.
going, right?
You know
We're
what I'm
going to
saying?
keep exploring this middle ground. There's going to be a lot of buffs today, some of which are going to buff the early game for classes that need it or items that really need it, that
Yeah.
feel like they're falling behind. That doesn't mean it's undoing 9.5. It's just focusing on specific character classes,
it.
archetypes that need it.
Right.
We're also going to keep looking at the late game, where it does still feel pretty bursty because we didn't really adjust that
Yeah.
much.
Right.
So there's going to be some late game changes. Those are other things we'll continue looking into. And of course, as we come to the end of the year, we have a lot of really big changes. So if something really big or spicy doesn't make it into these last few updates of the year, there's always the beginning of next year where we can really do something big.
Cool,
Yeah,
cool.
absolutely.
Well, that's
think
good
that
information to
covers
know. Yeah. So from there, we move into this new balance section.
Anyway.
This interesting new take on things, and as was mentioned, some items might be mentioned twice, but again, things can contribute to different roles. Nerfing something could help one class and damage another class. It could be
It's all very connected.
It's all very connected, and we're hoping to pass on kind of how our thought process works for that, starting with some mage early game buffs, it looks like. So what's
This is
happening?
the biggest aspect of the patch today. So mage early game buffs. We've seen in the SPL, hunters taking over mid lane quite a bit.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of talk about mages not being viable. This tends to be discussed more at high level play
Yeah.
than at low level play. A
Got
lot
it.
of, even in ranked and normal modes, mages do a little bit better. So a lot of these changes are focusing specifically on that SPL concern of mages not getting picked up there, which a lot
Yeah.
of players have also understood and has translated down to other.
Yeah, it's
Right,
echoed through the
and
community.
it's things that we've talked about in the previous patches. Itemization has changed a little
We're
bit at a
so
time, but we're
close
addressing
to
a
an
little bit more
actual
wholesale
change
here.
to the game.
So
we're
in
right
the
there. I
mage
can
early game buffs,
almost
we're gonna have
taste
quite a
it.
lot of stuff here. We're gonna have the red buff conquest change, of course, contributes to it. We're going to be nerfing mid lane hunters as well as some other late game burst damage to help with mage early game burst damage. There's a little bit of a shift there. We also have some rework, almost a stat rework to Vamp Shroud and its upgrades. We have a bunch of underperforming mages getting buffed. We have a couple other mage items being buffed specifically through cost, helping them get online earlier. So a lot of changes here. We're going to go through them now, one at a time. But it's going to be a little bit more free-flowing as we go. This is our first time doing this too, So if you are confused,
Am I getting April Fool's baited right now? What the hell is happening?
Also, you can have the patch notes
Am I
come up,
literally
which is all
getting-
sorted
I'm
into
being
each section
gaslit.
already, ready to go, and nice in order for you. But first up, spoiler alert, we've are announcing in this section that there's going to be mid-hunter nerfs, nerfs, and
Just
late game nerfs
Ooh.
tell
coming.
me something.
On the way.
But first, we've got to
Anything.
talk about mages. So, Conquest, we talked about the red buff. That's probably a lot of people feel like that's going to be a big change to
Right,
Yeah.
which is
all
that
is
it's
arrival just on its own.
Yeah,
and
which is crazy.
another reason why we were talking about the interconnectivity between all these changes, the hunter nerfs, and the mages being helped out by the manticore. We specifically are targeting not just their health, but their
crap.
magical protections, right?
This is
Specifically
insane.
a
This is literally
mage-oriented change
insane.
there.
Got it.
So then the first item change to go over now is the Banecroft's Claw nerf. Now we listed this one first because
Okay, here we
we're
go.
going nerfs and buffs and then items and gods in that order. But we're gonna buff a whole bunch of mage stuff. We gotta nerf the best thing too.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Right.
That's
bring
fine.
it
We don't
along.
just want to
Bancroft is
over-buff
insane.
mages
That's
across the
fine.
board. So there are some nerfs across this patch. There are some more shifts, which we've been seeing feedback from the community before. They didn't like us holding every nerf for the bonus. If something needs a nerf, let's go ahead and get it done
Give
now.
it the nerf.
No reason to wait. So a lot of the mages that are performing the best right now, especially at other skill levels, are the bruisery, self-healing type of mages. It's
Got
like,
it.
this is the pinnacle of Hades, Zhongqi, Chang'e, Baron. Those gods are absolutely annihilating.
Yeah, they're shining.
Most of the scene in ranked and normal mode. In SPL, we're seeing a couple ones like Hades.
Hades is in the SPL,
Yeah,
probably
crazy.
doing a little bit too well.
And there's a Hades nerf coming up here too, but this is the first part of the Hades nerf, effectively.
Right, exactly.
But then we've got to move on to the specific buffs we need for our mages. This one being pretty big here, the Sands of Time, getting increased true damage on minions from
We
10 to 15.
just talked about
That's
that this
gonna
morning,
help
actually.
every single mage in the game clear their minions better in the early game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty much the number one thing people were saying is what is holding them back from competing with hunters in the mid lane.
Right.
So that'll be a big one.
Yeah,
We
lots of that
have,
going on.
let's see, we have a whole lot of other changes that I'm going to move ahead to the Vampiric Shroud one.
Yeah, that's a big one too, because it's
Yes.
almost a stat rework, right?
It's pretty
pretty
much
heavy.
a rework. We wanted to be careful calling it a rework because
Yeah.
we know there's a lot of specific expectations that come with reworks. But it is effectively a stat-based rework. So Vamp Shroud was kind of a bruiser item,
Right, absolutely.
but that had been really absorbed by the solo lane.
yeah.
And if we tried to buff it at all, the solo lane Guardians would just run wild with it. So
Yeah,
we've
go crazy.
reorganized it to be more of a full power lifesteal starter for mages.
Got it.
So if you really want to start something with some lifesteal and power, this is going to be your item to go. You're going to want to go Vamp Shroud for increased magical power, removing the physical protections and the health, but increasing the lifesteal and adding that MP5 to help you stay,
37%
keep your mana up in
MP5.
the mid lane.
Much more aggressive focus.
All that
Much
sustain.
more, much more. Yeah. And
Okay.
because of these changes, the upgrades, the Sacrificial Shroud and the Blood-Soaked Shroud, had to also be adjusted as well. The Sacrificial Shroud being the much more aggressive one. That's the high power,
increase
high
the
life
protections,
steal,
though?
and that's the one that actually
Kinda weird.
hurts you
Yep.
in order to let you
kinda
deal more
weird.
damage.
It will
Yeah.
be maintaining, in fact, increasing the physical protection. So that's where the shift is going to be for Sacrificial Shroud. But for Blood-Soaked Shroud as the alternate, we will still be removing entirely the physical protections and actually increasing the health for that one. So there's a trade-off for those
Right,
two.
so they're both going to be a little bit higher power than before, or, I mean, around the same. Well, we're buffing one. One's going to have more prots, one's going to have more health.
Yeah, a lot of stat changes for that for sure, and crazy for, that's basically, like you said, it's a soft rework to the stats, which is an incredibly big change for the item.
This could have some really big changes. And although we don't see Vamp Shroud in the mid lane that much right now, we might with
Yeah,
these changes.
this could be this would push
Sands
over
of
the
Time
edge.
is going to be bonkers.
You're
and that's gonna help mages
confused?
a lot
It's
too.
okay. They
But
are
we wanted to make sure we
confused.
gave them more options instead of just leaning entirely and
So
saying, okay,
it's all
Mage is just
good.
going to build Sands for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
We wanted to give them some more options. Conduit Gem is still mostly been stolen by Solo Lane Guardians as well.
Right.
So we had to be careful about buffing that one because we didn't want to overbuff that one.
Yep.
Of course,
Between
yeah.
Conduit Gem and Tainted Steel, there's options for the Bruisers in the Soul Lane, and if they want to go Vamp Shroud, that still could be possible, especially with the power. But they're not going to be getting any of the tanky benefits that Warriors Axe or something else could provide instead.
They'll have to watch their trades for sure.
So next up with some standard tier 3 item buffs for our mages, we have Soul Gem, decreasing the stacks required to trigger the passive, that is a spicy buff.
That is, yeah.
You're going to be able to do the burst damage trigger off of this a lot easier now.
A little bit more healing
There
there.
was always a specific gods we always felt like were limited.
I don't really like
because you
that
had to really be able
because
to do
sustain is so strong right
use enough
now, and
abilities
that's
to
just
get this
more
trigger, and I feel like
sustain in the
reducing
meta.
this is going
I
to
don't
open
like
it up
that.
to a lot more mages,
Yeah,
which is
I
really
don't
nice.
like it personally.
We're also decreasing the cost of Chronos Pendant.
Ooh-hoo-hoo.
Very popular item at casual tier. Not one we had seen too often in pros, but
Yeah, and
a lot of the discussion about mages being a little bit underpowered came with how buffing their early game, just giving them more damage, giving them more clear, but also how long it takes them to get online.
right,
So
exactly.
we're trying to address that a little bit today as well.
Because if we are seeing mages right now, we're seeing a lot of these
Chronos'
almost
Pendant
single
isn't-
or
the
double
problem
stacking
isn't its
items, right?
cost,
Mages
it's that
could be
Sands of
okay.
Time is a better item, and they
even
just
currently,
buff
but
Sands of
if
Time,
they're
and now it's
opting
even
into
better
Warlock
item.
Staff or Book of Thoth or sometimes
Then
both,
you have
their
too much
power
cooldown,
curve just
so
doesn't
there's
really
still no
accelerate them
point.
enough to compete with hunters. But now we just want to bring in
Not
some of
the
these
problem.
early game options. Maybe it'll be after one stacking item, or maybe it'll be the first one right after their starter item. But just trying to align the power curve a little bit better.
Sounds good.
That's it for items. Now moving on to gods.
Yeah,
we
we
have
have the
quite
gods.
a few gods getting buffed. Agni is getting some buffs to his base damage on Flame Wave and Rain of Fire. Important to note that a lot of these characters are going to be similar changes as you might have seen in 9.4,
Okay.
but being reverted.
All right.
One of
Bringing
the
it
things
back.
we did before 9.5 was test nerfing a lot of gods across many different specific elements.
Yeah.
And what we noticed was that had some impact, but it was a little bit smaller than what
Right.
the player base at
After
the time
these
was really
patch
communicating
notes,
to us.
I'm
So
gonna go through the
9.5 came
patch
through and
notes
made
so
a
we can actually
much
talk
larger
Yeah,
impact
about
than
swung
any
the
of these
hammer for
changes
that
did.
one.
So a lot of these gods are now really struggling in the post
Differently.
9.5 world. So
Just
doing our
differently.
best to bring back a few more mages, especially with the goal of just getting them to the mid lane in SPL,
back
as
in the
well as
lane.
making a lot more viable mages in the mid lane. So opening up that god pool to be a lot more options.
Yeah.
Got it.
Which would be really exciting to see.
I agree.
Okay, base damage on
I think
both.
Agni's going to come back big time with this
Wow.
one, by the way.
I'm ready for some
Significant
Agni
base
plays,
damage on
honestly, so, like, make
Rainfire.
it happen. Let's
20
bring it back.
damage at level
Next
1.
up, we have a very spicy change for Anubis.
Anubis.
Yeah, this one's good.
Yeah, so Plague of Locusts seeing a really big cooldown decrease.
Ooh,
Which
more
the thing was,
bugs.
this ability is
Okay.
really good at clearing the wave and dealing damage, but it's also very risky. He often has to cancel it really quickly and doesn't really get that max benefit for it.
Yeah.
So we were talking about
Might
how
help
come
his
Anubis
ability
can't be
just to
good even
farm,
when there's
you know,
pressure so valued. It's
generically
like,
just
well,
farming.
it's too risky, and he just has to stand there, and if you have to cancel it, then you're just can't do anything for a long
Yeah,
time.
you're on
right?
cooldown. Yeah.
Decreasing that cooldown here will give Anubis a lot more chance to keep that pressure up and keep the clear movement.
Right.
Got
And even
it.
if you are maxing your 3, if you feel like
That
you need
plus
that,
the
you're
vampiric
against someone else that can
change
poke you up because your
could
one's
make
going to put
Ruby
you
kind
in
of
a very
interesting.
specific spot. At least if you're going to be using that Plague of Locusts, with that heavily reduced cooldown in the early game, you can then maybe use it either twice in wave or maybe when you're rotating into the jungle.
Maybe
Yeah.
he juggles
It gives you
too.
it gives you that flexibility.
Ooh.
I mean, with Vamp Shroud as well, Anubis stocks are high.
Yeah.
Stomps.
Discordia coming up next with just a simple base damage buff to her
Yeah.
AO1, her unruly magic, her core lane damage and
You don't
poke
see
ability.
Discordia
Yeah.
very often.
She's
to
been
begin
on
with.
the lower end, and
Yeah.
this is a small change, but it might be enough to bring her back along with the other items.
A little more chaos in the battleground. All for it.
Hera. Hera's a
Ooh.
big one.
Hera's a big
We
one.
haven't seen her as much lately.
No.
It's been a little while.
It's been a minute. But yeah, so what's happening with her? It looks like a
Range
couple
on
things
her
actually. 2 different
one
abilities.
part.
Yeah, so the Royal Assault is actually be increasing the range on specifically the deployable hand component of this attack.
Okay.
Here's one of those mages where she's got a little bit of that like long range poke with polymorph, even with
Yeah.
the
Okay.
Royal Assault. But you have to really
not-
position yourself in the wave at a specific part of it.
It's not
Yeah.
massive.
And able to hit the entire wave with the ability. And you're still
It's
going to need to
nice.
do that here too, but
not
it's going to give
massive.
her poke, either in wave or even in team fights, a little bit of that extra range. That's kind of what she needs to be
Yeah.
a bit more flexible.
Right.
Divine Shroud as well is something that we saw previously kind of spike her in terms of how well she can do.
Yeah.
And we've had to nerf it since then. So here we're going to be increasing the base HP. It's not by a lot, and it's
Yeah, just a
specifically not at the early game.
You got to rank it up first.
It's hitting the mid to late game where she's going to be a little bit more survivable, something that she kind of struggles with especially without Argus.
Yeah, okay.
That range, I mean, increased range on like a core damage ability, that's a big buff.
Yeah.
That is,
That'll be interesting.
It's one of those things where it seems so simple when you think about it, but yeah, it really, that can help your positioning, that can help your farm, that can help your poke. It touches all aspects of the game, so that'll be really spicy to see in game for sure. So, looks like next up on the list we have Nuwa also getting a buff. Her fog is a little more angry now.
Yep, decreased cooldown.
Angry?
Angry? I mean, when it passes, I'm like walking and she pops out of it and hits me, I'm angry, so.
Absolutely.
Decreased cooldown, that's going to help her clear. Also going to help her team utility, right? That stealth is pretty strong.
It is pretty strong.
Scylla up next.
Ooh, another scary thing. Scylla with Crush.
Well, we were very careful with this one.
Okay, how
Yes,
careful?
we know Scylla can be volatile, but
Good word.
she does struggle in the early game lane clear because she only has one AoE
Lane
ability,
minions
really.
and
So
jungle
we went ahead and looked at Crush
20%
specifically.
damage. That's
for
a
mid-season and some work with
huge amount.
aggro on the design team, making some new features around giving gods specifically more minion damage in specific places. This is a very logical place to put it. If we buff just Crush base damage, then everyone's getting blown up again. That's not what we want to do.
Right.
We just talked about that for a long time with 9.5.
True.
But we do want to help her clear in the early game, so now she's going to get a little extra bonus damage on that Crush.
Awesome. Or you could just build all 4 rings blindly
Judge.
and auto attack everything. I mean, just an opinion. Next up, Zeus getting some changes. So talk about aggro. Some Zeus getting a little.
Yeah,
love.
I feel like
He's cheering, watching the show.
He's at home clapping right now.
I feel like it wasn't too long ago we were saying the exact same thing, but in reverse. Like, Zeus hits, Zeus hits.
Well, that's because if people already forgot, Zeus was like the best god in the game for a few months.
Exactly.
This year.
Yep.
But yeah,
maybe it was a little bit too far, and we're going to get mostly a little bit of reverts in terms of the damage nerfs that he's had. So Chain Lightning, increasing the base damage, Detonate Charge, also increasing the base damage. It's not going to be by a lot. We don't want to bring Zeus back to those incredibly high glory games, but just a little bit of love.
All these item changes also compounding a lot of these mage changes, so we're being a little bit careful here. So because we have to be careful with the buffs, because the item buffs compound those, that also means we have to be especially heavy with the nerfs.
Yeah.
Because if we're trying to nerf a mage right now and all their items just got buffed, it's not even a nerf unless we make sure we overcorrect that.
Yeah.
So therefore, the Morrigan is dead.
Bye,
All right, yeah. I mean, so
Rest in peace.
So see you next year.
we were talking about the SPL. We're talking about high-level competitive play as well as high-level ranked and stuff like that. Mages are generally not doing so well. We talked about that. There is maybe a few of them that are doing particularly strong, and the Morrigan is one of those. So like AJ said, with the compounding buffs that mages are getting, some of the top-hitting mages need to be nerfed.
She's still going to get played. You know she will.
Oh,
but this is a very heavy nerf just to make sure that
it's a pretty
we
big
open
nerf
up the
for
field
sure.
for more mages and make sure she's
Exactly.
not the only option. So she's going to get decreased damage to minions on her ability 1, as well as decreased magical power scaling. She's going to do decreased base damage to all targets. That's the initial and bonus to gods and minions is going to be decreased on her ability 2, Dark Omen, her line attack, as well as her ultimate cooldown is going to be increased as it ranks down. Now that that does have the cooldown clause where the ability the target you turned into as a longer ult, it'll be set to that. But if you do, find some target where you can ult more as Morrigan, we're still going to be slowing that down.
Yeah,
because
just
that's
a little bit.
Very powerful effect, obviously.
Well, cool. I believe that's the end of the mage buffs, though, right there, isn't it? So that was a lot of stuff.
There is a Hades nerf in here too. I must have put him in another section though.
Pretty significant.
Well, I guess we'll get there to that. We'll have to find that later down. Again, there are so many things we have to go over.
This is a really big update. We really wanted to deliver. I know a lot of times people think that we want to be really scared and careful towards the end of the year, but we're not there yet.
No.
We still got a couple more bonuses, a whole other main update before SWC. We wanted to make sure we had a lot of fun and spicy stuff in here.
And we know the players have been clamoring and making sure that they wanted to see a lot of changes coming into the game, so we weren't going to hesitate on that.
Yeah, if the players want it, then we're swinging for the fences every time.
They don't have
All
to
right,
deal
bringing
with
us
the
to our
crashes in
next
SPL.
section, the mid hunters. That's one of the reasons that mages are being poked out is the mid hunters. You need to go to the next page, maybe, or did I skip?
Yeah, I was just like, wait,
I think you skipped. I think we have late game burst damage.
We're on 12.
Oh, you're right. My bad.
See, we're learning how to do this. It's a work in
if I've seen
progress.
enough changes
Late game
yet.
burst comes
Damage.
up next.
Yeah, getting a little nerfed up.
So we buffed a lot of mage early game.
Yes.
To make
And
hunters not meta.
We want to be
we'll see.
careful via the 9.5 discussion that we're not over buffing uniformly.
Yeah.
So this is actually a shift. We're getting some buffs in the early game, but that's going to actually lead us to want to do some nerfs in the late game.
Okay.
And it's not just going to affect mages. We're also going to be looking at assassins and mid hunters for these
Ooh,
nerfs. So that
got it.
includes a Titan's Bane nerf, an Obsidian Shard nerf, and a Staff of Mirrodin nerf.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah. I
So
mean,
those 3 nerfs cover quite a bit of classes.
Yeah, they sure do.
combined.
And we want to be careful as well, because I feel like every time we go, there's going to be a nerf to the late game. I feel like immediately Twitch chat might already be saying, like, Warriors and Guardians tank meta, what's going on? These nerfs are applicable, and they're hitting those hard-hitting items, but they're not massive, right? It's not like their percentage pen is being changed or gutted or anything right now.
Right. So,
It's
right.
cost changes and power for both the 2 main ones, Titan's Bane and Obsidian Shard.
Which those 2 we usually keep pretty tight together when we make balance
Right.
changes.
Yeah.
So
Kinda
both
hand
going to
in
get a bit
hand.
more expensive. Both going to get a little bit more less power. And then Staff of Mirrodin is also going to see a decreased damage buff from the passive.
Yeah,
the specific
okay.
passive effect. The mages that can use that very well.
This
it
format
hits hard.
sucks.
Yeah,
And it
sure
really
does.
blows people up in the late game. So
Ass.
we're taking a 5% off of that.
Yeah, just to try to keep from things blowing up. All right, cool. Well, it looks
That's
like
all I
now we
got.
get
Now
to
we
move
can
into
talk
those
about
mid
mid
hunter
hunters,
nerfs
right?
you were
Guess we're
getting
gonna
Everybody's
onto.
been wanting
those
these
numbers,
ones,
so
so
it's gonna
I
go
got to
ahead
make sure we
and
do
move
that.
forward.
Let's get into it.
We've been
Cool.
obviously talking about
I
mages.
would hate to know
mid
anything
hunters
that they're
pushing
talking
out
about.
mages.
Yeah.
We are seeing a bit of just traditional hunters going traditional build and, and standard ADC in the mid lane still. But all of those mage buffs we did already should help combat that.
Yeah.
Now,
Bring
we
them
did want
back.
to additionally nerf this mages, the mids that are specifically a couple items and gods that are in this zone, right? And that's going to include Crusher nerf, Titan's Bane nerf, and a Muzen Cobb nerf.
Got it.
And like we talked
The
about, there's a little bit of
bees.
interconnectivity, so we've already discussed the Titan's Bane nerf.
Right,
Yeah.
so it fits into multiple goals, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Titan's Bane nerf is helping mages, it's hurting mid hunters, it's also lowering late game base damage,
Exactly.
or
Look at
late game
that.
burst damage.
There's a Venn
but yeah,
diagram
so
somewhere.
let's
We haven't
see.
made it yet, but
Crusher is
Imagine
losing
it.
physical power. That's the new one, because
Yeah.
we already talked about Titan's Bane. And then Muzen Cobb
To
is
confirm it
getting
real
nerfed.
quick, because I know it says it here, it's not going to 402.
Yeah.
It's probably just a 40. In fact,
That's
it is
40.
definitely just
That's
a 40.
40.
it's definitely just a 40.
It's like, I was like waiting for it. I'm like, is this going to? Yep, okay.
Come on, guys,
402
get
is a
caught.
lot.
I
That's
just
a
wanted to
lot
scare
of
people.
power.
That was just,
y'all.
I mean, Halloween's over, but I
They're
didn't
like,
get
well, the
enough scares
designers
in.
put
So
it.
yeah, if you don't
Gotta
go
do
Crusher
it,
mid
hey.
lane, you're just
Ajax
you know,
says it.
45 to 40 for the Crusher.
Yeah, 45
Losing
to
some
40.
power off
Crusher's
of
gotta
and
have
Titan's
it.
Bane,
Okay,
as
Crusher
well as
meta.
a Muzen Cobb getting additional nerfs now. Just got nerfed in the bonus, but hitting him again here, making sure we give mages a chance in that mid lane. So that's decreased base damage on Swarm, which is
Yeah.
his primary lane clear. Keep in note, though, that ability does apply beads. There's
Yeah, I was going to
additional
say,
damage
that
there.
looks like it's really, really low, but it does have more damage associated to it.
Yeah.
And the Stinger, specifically the CDR from picking up the Stinger, is going to be 20% weaker, which is a pretty big change.
It is
That
pretty big change.
Yeah. So, well, super cool stuff. I believe that's it for that section, but I believe we're now in Warrior solo buffs.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
now
here
we're
we go.
moving across the
Yeah,
conquest map
jumping
to another
over to a
side
different
that
lane.
hasn't been really mentioned with these other changes. So
Yeah.
we are noticing a lot of Guardians in solo.
Still.
So we want to try to buff Warriors, and we also have
I
heard
hate that
there's
phrase
a lot
a
of
lot.
underwhelming physical protection options,
Got it.
Right.
which
Just hate that
you
phrase.
could imagine would be a little counterintuitive if we're trying to make Warriors come back. But Warriors generally are not as worried about the physical protections. It's really about giving Warriors and support and Guardians better protection against Assassins and Hunters.
Yeah, got
So
it.
to bring back Warriors, we want to help them beat out Guardians in that lane, as well as we want to help them itemize, or be able to itemize, to better tank Hunters and Assassins in the late game.
Yeah, to help them thrive in that lane without just being instantly killed on a gank.
Yeah, so we do have a bunch of changes to items and gods here. The first
that.
one is the Warding Sigil starter item, increasing the magical protections there. So this one is kind of not been super popular throughout the years. It doesn't
Yeah.
really have a very clear identity, but what we wanted to do is use this opportunity to give it that, which is that this is the super tanky one,
Yeah.
right? The passive helps you just take less damage from all sources, but we're also buffing up the magical protection here. So if you do expect yourself in lane as a warrior against a aggressive guardian in the solo lane, you could buy this to be especially tanky, so you have
Yeah.
a hard time bursting
Right.
you down, or whittling you down. Anything to add on the starter change there, Clumsy?
No, that's particularly it. We want to be very careful that, to look at the current starter items that Warriors are using and not overinflate those that already are good.
Yeah.
We're seeing a lot of Axe still. We're seeing a lot of Tainted Steel. So this was one that we wanted to just make sure felt a little bit better.
Yeah.
Cool.
So next up for warrior buffs, we have a Berserker Shield buff. Increasing its physical protection, so making it a little bit tankier, helping them to counter
Yeah,
those
bulk up a little.
hunters. Yeah, we went for bulk changes in most of these warrior changes here. So we got physical protection buff and damage mitigation on the passive buffs on Berserker Shield.
Huh?
On Mystical
We
Mail,
love Bologna.
we got health and protections buff.
Yep.
Yeah.
We did not want to bring back the damage on that because that was actually contributing to a lot of solo lane, Guardian, AFK farm solo, as they call it.
Yeah.
So, but making this a better tanky option for warriors to pick up if they want some additional damage in the early game and a better tank up against those physical DPS characters in the late game.
Got it. Next up looks like
Mystical Mail
Runic
buff,
Shield
wild.
getting a little bit of a buff too.
So increasing the magical power debuff aura.
Debuff aura.
So that means, if you're going to be picking this up against bruisers, against mages in general, they're going to be dealing less damage.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're warrior pick this up against the Guardian in that lane, they don't buy much power. They're going to feel this nerf.
Yeah. It'll be a pool noodle fight basically.
So we wanted to give the this is the second I think change for warriors directly against a Guardian in their lane. This would help them. Yeah.
Yeah.
We also have a sledge buff. Giving it a little bit more power, as well as increasing its physical protections per stack. So this protection stacks are no longer going to be symmetrical. It's actually going to be a little bit more indexed towards the physical defense,
Got it.
which is exciting.
Yeah, a little more physical bulk. I mean, like you said, lots of bulk changes for these, so cool.
We also have a lot of relic changes, and instead of keeping those in their own section,
Yeah, I was just like, wait a second, we brought them over
around
here.
a little bit
Gotcha.
to fit into the lanes and roles
Right.
that
The
usually
headers.
build them. There's someone probably out there saying, oh, whatever, Guardians build Thorns too sometimes, but generally we see this in the solo lane,
Yes.
not in the support. So we do have the Thorns of Overgrowth and the Thorns of Sapping Strength.
Got it.
Specifically the upgrades.
Both getting,
Yeah.
the final upgrades, both getting buffs here as well today, increasing the reflect damage on Overgrowth and increasing the maximum damage you can reflect, and then Sapping Strength, increasing the
Do
lifesteal
warriors
debuffs,
mostly
so it makes
buy
it especially hard
Thorns,
to
or do
lifesteal for
Kuzan
you,
Yeah.
mostly
and
buy
increasing
Thorns?
the max damage that it can reflect as well.
So if you
Out of
see mages or
curiosity.
soul laners or guardians still there and they're going the new Vamp Shroud, maybe pick up the Sapping Strength as well to mitigate that lifesteal.
Yeah, exactly.
A little bit of counterplay
Exactly.
built right into the
Lifesteal
balance. So
debuff,
super exciting. Looks like we're
25
moving into
to
the gods now.
50%.
There he is.
I feel my
Hiding over
strength
here in the
being
warrior solo
sapped
area.
today.
All right.
Well, Hades
I'm getting
doesn't really
sapped.
come into play in the mid lane.
Not quite
Although
as
we were
much.
talking mages, we were really talking mid lane, especially SPL level mid lane in the
Yeah.
first section. But we're talking solo lane now. This is where Hades has been showing up. He has been putting up bonkers numbers most of
Doing
the year.
work.
Yeah, so Claw getting nerfed is definitely part of that. That is the item he often picks up, but not
Yeah.
always.
Yeah.
Sometimes he
Doesn't have
goes
to
more
be.
tanky, especially SPL level solo lane.
Pythax is back
we
a little
also
bit.
just wanted to straight up nerf him directly,
This is
so we're
fine.
decreasing the
Hades has been the
detonate
number
damage.
one
So
win rate god
that
in
damage
Smite
is
for
actually
literally all year.
multiplicative depending on the number of
So.
targets hit.
Yep, the blighted.
So this
Got
is
it.
a pretty big nerf
Yeah.
Right.
to his base, which is important to note. So that's the full tank solo lane,
Yeah.
kind of SPL Hades getting nerfed here. If you're still playing him in the mid lane or building more power, this nerf's not going to be as heavy, but
yeah.
it's still a pretty big
It is
nerf.
And it
kind of
starts
funny
scaling
that
back
late
to its
game, he
original,
actually
almost
gets
its original
+2
amount
damage.
to the late.
Yeah, actually slightly higher. You're
Slightly
right.
higher.
We focused really heavily on his early game clear
kinda
Yeah.
hilarious,
because he
but
was just out clearing and
to be
bullying
fair,
Yeah, out clearing,
It's his early
punishing.
lane into
Yeah.
the ground.
And this might be a good time because Hades kind of transcends modes as well to address that. While a lot of the balance that we're doing is conquest high level focus, it is always going to have trickle effects, and very intentionally so for other game modes and other
of course.
players' point of view. So Hades is one that not only has done very well in Bancroft's with Bancroft's Claw and in SPL, but he's also transcended. He continues to be very strong in arena and other game modes. So
True,
we want to make sure we particularly hit in all
I mean,
cases.
I might be crazy, but I don't think we have to explain to them how good Hades is anymore. Like, there was a long time where we have to be like, trust us, he's not bad. But he was actually, what did we see in our stats? Like top 3, top 2?
He's been for
most
a
banned
while.
and ranked right now.
Exactly.
Which I don't think Hades has ever done
Yeah.
in his entire career.
So
Hit
he's
hit
been
that
top
damn
3
team
win
before.
He
rate.
hit the glow up, and people were like, no,
all
not in
year.
my game.
While his
all
win
year.
percentage might have been high historically,
Yeah.
as soon as we saw him being played in the SPL, and then as soon as the ban count rises, we know players know.
Right.
Yeah.
So then we also have 2 fun buffs to bring back some warriors to the solo lane. Gilgamesh, who famously known for being nerfed a lot of times,
The
King
kick
of
was- the kick was
resiliency.
strong.
finally was nerfed, very out of the meta.
Gains
Bringing him back, and we're actually trying to bring him
85.
back in a new way here by adding a little new component where he's going to be able to gain HP 5 during the effects of his Sunforged Scimitar stim.
Right. So that's his AOE.
So hoping to give him a
Yeah.
little bit more solo lane, durability there.
Yeah, a little more
exactly.
sustained.
Which we don't think that would be valued as much on jungle Gilgamesh. which,
Yeah.
we still might see given some buffs, but we're also decreasing the cooldown on dropkick.
Yeah.
Because that was ability he really relies on, and that went up, 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 up. So we're just taking it back down a notch, making sure he can clear in that lane.
More kicking, the better, in my opinion. So
We wanted to be very careful not to directly just increases damage, across the board.
Yeah.
So like we said, a utility and well, kind of a double utility. And then obviously there might be people correcting me saying, hey, cooldown reduction is damage increase, but it's not directly. We want to be very careful with how we did that.
I think that's a good point for the burst and the 9.5 type of community.
Yeah.
Cooldown is a good way to give characters an edge without necessarily bringing back burst.
It's over time.
Yeah, you got to get bursted multiple times, all right? And then it's not my fault anymore. That's on you.
Yeah,
Okay?
you didn't dodge the kick, just, the classic to win, be better. So still learning
finally, last warrior solo buff we have here is Sun Wukong.
Yeah.
Any Sun Wukong players on the couch?
Kong?
Yeah, I like Sun Wukong.
Yeah.
Not a lot.
Well, we were just
Go
in a
back.
Soul Eater Bluestone meta, and we still did not see much. of
Yeah,
Monkey
pretty
King.
crazy.
So that was a signal to us that he needed some buffs.
Little
So
low.
we're looking at the passive here, making that much more effective. So when he gets low health now, he was already really good at being evasive and just staying in the fight. He's going to be even better at that.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Which is really cool because that's his identity. And we're also leaning into more disruption on Master's Will. No, you can't have the knockup back. Not yet, at least.
Yeah.
Yes,
We
know.
may have joked
Yes,
about
we
it, and
know.
we're like, huh,
Yes,
what
we've
if?
talked about it. Yes, we've talked about it.
Unless,
Yes, we've looked hard in the mirror and said, no, we shouldn't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
But this increased duration on that CC is going to be impactful too.
Yeah, I think that'll be really helpful. Well, cool. That wraps up that section. On to another section. So this one hits home for me because I am definitely a Guardian player. So shout out to supports and getting some buffs. What's happening in the support world?
Yeah, this one's easy. Support buffs. That's all there is to it. Looking to find a couple
For you.
buffs for support.
fair.
So when we're
Atlas
talking
player.
about
That's
the
fair.
late game burst,
Yeah.
oftentimes support players are a big part of that conversation because they're in there, they're trying to take damage. They want to absorb that damage.
Yeah.
But when they feel like they're getting bursted exceptionally fast, that doesn't feel good.
Nah,
we want
yeah.
supports to be able to be tanky. That's a goal for us that we're going to be looking into maybe more in the distant future. But for now, we do have some quick buffs to their core items as well as a bunch of utility relic buffs, which I think are really exciting,
Ooh.
especially as we go into a more
Right.
competitive section of the year. All of these relics, I think, are really big game-changing possibilities.
Oh yeah, seeing some of those swap in. So yeah, it looks like we're starting off right up with some of those relics with Ankh, Drowned Ankh specifically.
So for these relics, we tried to look at only the most upgraded relics.
I'm
first.
always
We weren't
down
really
for
hitting the tier
healing
1s and tier
debuff
2s. We
increase,
weren't trying
that's
to
fine.
really throw off the balance of those relics immediately.
Yeah.
We're often looking at, there's two choices for each upgrade, right? We're looking at which one of these is generally less preferred.
Yeah.
Sometimes, in some cases, like in Thorns, we did buff both.
Yeah.
But for some of these, there's one that was already very preferred. So we generally avoided that one and buffed the other one to help increase the amount of chances that there's more of a choice
Yeah,
there.
bring that balance.
So traditional Ankh already doing pretty well. Drowned Ankh, on the other hand, was being held back quite a bit, generally by the lower healing debuff, so bringing that up to match.
Okay, cool.
Bracer of Illumination, similar situation.
Shiny bracelet.
Yeah.
Angry Cloud, shiny
Yeah,
bracelet.
yeah.
But this one, increasing the power buff when above half health and increasing the movement speed when below half health. So this one,
Better all the
just
time.
better.
Yeah, just generally better. Drop in the middle of a team fight
the
and win.
contrast is the other one gives you both,
Exactly.
but this one would only give you one or the other. So we're like, why is it also weaker? Or why is it also the same? It should be better.
Yeah.
So giving it some buffs here. Cloak of the Avatar, next. That's the knockback meditate.
Yeah.
Which was often kind of thought of as, I think we saw one last week in SPL though, which was exciting.
Yeah, it's cool
but
to see it
that's
show up.
pretty rare. Generally wasn't seen because the knockback wasn't worth the trade-off of the better healing.
Yeah.
I mean, seeing the Blink Wheelix like knockback its ulti plays was really cool when it first
That's
came
true.
out. But no.
So this one's getting buffed in the increased health and mana restore. That's to make it closer to the other meditation.
Right.
Yeah.
Other meditation still has that cooldown effect though, which is very powerful. So that's the key differentiator there. But bringing their
Yeah.
healing to be closer together.
Got it. Scorching Blink up next, it looks like.
Yeah,
Got that
Scorching
hot
Blink. So this is a damage buff masquerading as a utility buff. So
yeah.
we actually increase the damage over time, which means you're going to take an additional tick of damage.
Yeah.
Cool.
So this is
dot.
actually a damage buff to this item, which this item, if those of you who remember 9-1, was like insanely strong.
I do
Has
remember
since been
that.
Sure
nerfed
was.
very heavily.
It
and
needed it, it
Not
needed
really
it.
picked up at all. In most cases, people going for the corrupted blink, that debuffing blink.
Right.
Yeah.
So attempting to bring this one back.
Yeah, that was definitely that was an interesting time for sure. So it looks like we have one more Emblem of
did like
Trembling
1,000
Terror also
damage or
getting a little
something.
bit.
Oh no,
of
we
a-
have more relics. We have more relics. We got
well,
another
one more.
page here.
Okay,
It
one more on
doesn't
this page.
Yeah, Trembling Terror. This is the emblem that can actually CC people.
Yeah.
If you hit the trigger. So we made that trigger a little bit easier to trigger, and we made that CC more effective.
Yeah.
Because that part just wasn't being valued. People were just taking the straight up slow and attack speed debuffs. Like,
Yeah, but
makes sense. But we wanted this one's unique feature to really shine.
yeah.
3 seconds
All right,
of tremble
then we
is kind
continue
of cool,
on.
actually.
With some wings. Looks like hastened and entangling. both getting a
10%
little
in
bit of
3
love.
seconds.
Right,
That's
so
kind of
both
cool.
wings,
That could
or
work.
for you old school Smite players, sprint relics. Both
That
of
one
those
was
getting
actually
increased
interesting.
movement speed on
Yep.
both of them.
That's
We just
fine.
haven't seen these relics much, so getting just their core feature getting buffed a little
Yeah.
bit different than the way we
A
handled
little bit
others.
of more schmoovin'.
And now our last relic, Sundering Siphon, which actually maybe I should have put this one in the warrior section, so apologies to you. But for those of you aggressive supports out there who want to buy Sunder, or more likely
Increase
it's
the duration of the effect.
more jank comps in
So me.
non-conquest modes.
You
because-
can say it, so me.
But
got it.
That's a
Sunder,
pretty
you
big
know,
buff.
This item has a lot of potential. This was also one that we were really
24% over
strong
3
on.
seconds
Yeah.
At the
instead of
beginning
20
year,
over
but was
4.
heavily nerfed. So bringing this back with just a little bit of buffs across the board.
And we have seen its alternative being used every once in a while. So like that's one of the reasons why we didn't just buff both. Is Sundering Blast has been used even in the SPL.
That's
Yeah,
a
trying to
respectable
choose
buff.
those ones that are a little underutilized
sure.
and bring them kind of back in full swing and see if we can see those appearing in games too. Whew.
So we have a couple support items.
Yeah.
And these I want to call out because they tend to they follow a little bit different philosophy than what we often do on our updates.
Let's get philosophical
So
then.
these are items that we know supports are already building, and we're still buffing them.
Yeah.
That's because we want to make sure we give supports a known impact to their tankiness and to their
Noticeable.
build.
Got it.
We can always buff underperforming items with the hope that they'll replace or become a new option. But
Yeah.
for supports, we already feel like they have a lot of options.
Right.
They have a lot of situational auras or counter items they want to build. But we know that Gauntlet of Thebes and Spirit Robe are two that most supports are building most of the time.
True.
And just to make sure they get those gains that
Spirit
we want
Robe
to
is
give them,
also a
Yeah.
we're going to
strong
make
warrior
Spirit
item
Robe
from
cost a
that
little
Carol.
less, make sure they can pick up a
Solos.
little quicker, and we're increasing the protections on Gauntlet of Thebes by a little bit more. But it will take a little bit longer to stack.
You got to work up to it.
So we really want to make sure, just for supports.
Yeah.
No one else be building Gauntlet of Thebes,
Got
please.
5 more stacks.
You'll do it. We'll,
Okay.
This is
then
the
we'll have to
challenge
think
now.
through it. Yeah.
Don't do it.
Okay.
You're gonna make them cry.
And then we have
Whew.
a couple gods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To finish off our support
To
section.
finish the supports.
We have Sylvanas.
Love them.
His passive actually kind of upgrades based on level, kind of like a starter item.
Upgrade to
It was at
15
17 though
now.
still, so we brought that down to
Right.
15, like we did with the starter item.
Just makes sense.
There you go.
Growth,
Yeah,
1
and
second
decrease
cooldown.
cooldown on
Okay.
Verdant Growth, which is his
Whatever.
core
Yeah.
kind of setup and damage ability.
Yeah. Just by 1 second
This
across
has
the
been
board,
an
we didn't want to go too crazy.
extremely
Yeah.
whatever
bring it
patch.
down, help him out, but not like make him the
Just
the
a very
pick all
whatever
the time or
patch.
feel bad character. So, and then it looks like the last one, Jing Qian.
Yeah, decreased hook slam cooldown, so that's his also his primary kind of setup ability.
Yeah.
Key thing to note here, both these gods also DR changes.
Yep, exactly.
The effects from DR changes,
So
so getting these
whatever.
cooldown buffs will really help them make sure they make an impact.
Awesome. Super cool. So that is it for supports. So hooray, fellow supports. Looking forward to seeing y'all out there. Next up, duo hunters look like they're getting a little bit of love as well. So what's
Yeah,
happening with
Guardians,
them?
in fact,
So
did
good
not
thing
get
you
that
know
much
is that we
love.
were
I don't want you to be bean
nerfing
boozled.
Mid-hunters.
Support got
Yeah.
basically
But we
jack
didn't want
spot.
all of those nerfs to get translated directly
Yeah,
into,
to the duo
into
lane.
duo hunters and therefore
Sorry,
nerfing
sports.
all hunters.
Yeah.
So we're actually doing a couple.
You got a
duo
whopping 5
items
protections and 100
gods,
gold.
buffs to counteract.
I got
that.
you,
They're still
$1.
probably going to be
Oh.
affected. I know a lot of
Gotta be
duo lanes
quicker
still
than that.
possibly building Crusher,
Yeah.
Titan's Bane.
Right.
But wanted to give them a couple other buffs to help counteract that. So we have Gilded Arrow first and foremost, which has dropped off quite a bit from the hunter starter options.
Yeah.
Although I've seen the crit builds have been coming back.
Yes.
Even
True.
with
little bit.
Death's Toll or Leather Cowl start. So this Gilded Arrow change might actually be a little bit bigger
tax
than
speed
anticipated.
buff.
But it is a small buff. We
killing
were very
blow,
careful with it.
25.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing on the gold regen.
Yeah, no gold. And this is just a little bit more attack speed and mana restore on successful hit of the trigger. Which, that takes some specific management to make sure you get those triggers.
Oh, yeah.
That won't
And
matter.
that change is being
That won't matter.
Transferred
Death
over
Toll
to Diamond
sustain
Arrow.
is just
Yeah.
too
Which
strong.
has
And
the same
sustain in
clause.
this
Yeah,
meta
just
means
bring it
stinkers.
down the
More
upgrade.
farm,
Same
and
logic
more
there.
farm means more meta.
And then we have Griffin Wing earrings.
10-minute meta.
Love
baby.
them.
We haven't been seeing this item
There has
too
been
much,
nothing
though. A
in
lot of
this
people are
patch
saying
to
this one
affect
felt
the
like
10-minute
weaker
meta.
of the mid-season
Still
items.
love 'em.
Zero,
So
nada.
continuing to look at some stats
Nothing.
just for this one.
Yeah.
We're not really interested in tweaking that passive anymore. We feel like that the number we're at is the right place to be.
Yeah.
So more power, more attack speed.
Just making it better overall.
Yeah. Help it better compete with other items.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Well, cool, cool.
And what, we got some gods?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, our boy Hachiman.
Oh,
He's fallen off a little bit more than expected. That's for sure.
that's true. But I think
Did I
he
say
stepped
something?
ahead a little bit.
Yeah. Flip side, these double-sided pages are really throwing us
Saving
off.
paper because I care about the environment and trees and stuff.
Saving paper is right. You're right, but that's the second time I've done that now. Sorry. Sorry, squad. Kronos.
Exciting.
Right?
Yeah, that's where we're at.
He's in the duo lane hunter section, by the way, because he's
True.
mostly played as a carry in the duo lane.
Yeah.
And we buffed some mage ADCs in the last couple patches, and a lot of people.
Everyone was going, "Where's Kronos?"
Yeah.
Why not Kronos?
Where's he at?
Well, here he is. We
Pretty
just wanted
big
to take our
buff
time
to
on this
accelerate
one.
to level 1.
But we have some exciting changes here, Clumsy.
Yeah, these are really cool. So accelerate, his main stim is going to be increasing the attack speed.
Yeah.
By quite a bit, specifically focusing on the early game. Kronos, when he's using that attack speed, he has a lot of different, competing stim effects that he could be using.
Yeah.
But the one for the early game, the one that's going to be going on all the time is that attack speed, right?
Right.
It's just always applicable. So especially early game where you really don't have those rings in effect yet, your build hasn't really come online.
Yeah.
That 15% wasn't really doing much. So now going for 15 to 25, and then
pretty
scaling
big
to the same
Kronos
amount
buff
late
for
game,
sure.
right? So you're not going to be getting a late game Kronos buff there. You're going to be getting
That's
some
the
other stuff
first
with his
significant
other
patch
effects.
of
So
the day.
increase the effect of the section
big
3, which is the
Kronos
magical power increase from 25% to 35%.
And we went through this one really closely because this one is often said as the worst one.
Yes.
Because it is going to give you a much worse return on investment on your basic attacks than
Exactly.
the other mode, which specifically buffs basic attacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to use this one for ability Kronos, if you're building a little bit more mage Kronos, this one is going to be, that's a 10%. That's a significant increase.
It is a
That
good
is a
chunk.
big buff.
It's still not going to be enough to ever outpace the basic attack one for your basic attacks.
Right.
But it is going to improve your basic attacks more than it would before. This one still does affect them.
And it'll be
Yeah.
hitting your
And
abilities
it's
as
gonna
well.
make your abilities hit a lot harder.
So, I mean, we were diagnosing which of those sections were the ones that felt the weakest. This one was just very obvious. You want the health regen when you're kind of low.
It also
you want
means that you can level up
the mana,
Kronos
when
is
you're
the,
also
the health
low
of the
mana.
person. Yeah,
Right.
the
You
mana
go
regen when you
4-1,
just want to clear
3-2
wave,
now
and
on
especially with your
Kronos.
early to mid game.
You don't level
That
the
damn
2
basic
until the
attack stim
end
is
because of the
really,
buff
really good.
at
And then
the
finally, the
very
magic
level
power
1.
was just the one that felt the weakest.
And then it's also going to come with a base damage buff on time stop, also towards the higher ranks.
Right.
Got it. Cool. Lots of love for him there. But looks up next up, Danzaburo, which Danza's one of my favorite. I've always loved since release. So
He's so fun, yes.
Yeah, just
and he had a very
unbelievably so.
strong release, and then had to be nerfed a few times, so dropped off, and now time to
It'll
bring
happen.
him back. So getting some increased physical power on his passive. That's just going to be free power for Danzaburo over time, which is great.
Easy peasy.
And then also Fool's Gold, his kind of primary lane clear and poke ability, getting a nice base damage buff
That's
there.
a
Yeah.
decent
All
buff.
right.
It's a
Simple
decent
there.
buff.
Feels good because
Now we can talk about it.
Yeah, now we're into Hachi.
There we go.
So back to Hachi and the
Respectable
Eagle Eye
Danza buff.
starting off with, huh?
Yes, basic attack.
Lane
power
clear is
scaling
always
on
an
that,
important buff
long range
in a
poke
lane
ability.
clear meta,
Also giving a buff to the Heavenly Banner duration, which that's a pretty strong buff.
Yeah.
He's
6
gifted,
seconds
so
already,
it's very
say
helpful.
that.
Gonna do-
Okay.
That already scales in damage and the buff. So we were like, and duration doesn't really need to scale in duration as well.
Yeah.
So giving him that's going to help his early ranks a good bit with that attack speed buff.
Yeah.
He's a safe hunter that we often see pulled out in the late or half of the seasons when the stakes are really high.
Yeah.
But we haven't really seen him at all, so we were worried he wouldn't be an option.
Yeah, with the potential of 2 hunters on the board, and he's not one of them. It's like, where'd he go?
Yeah, what do we got to do to bring him back a little bit? So
Right.
Cool. Ooh, next up, Ishtar. Ishtar's still kind of new on the scene. Not super new, but still kind of making the debut and learning some stuff. So it looks like Jolt is getting a little bit of an adjustment.
Right. So this is more of like a quality of life fix.
Okay.
We're actually seeing, after the previous buffs that Ishtar's been getting, we're seeing her a little bit more in the SPL, which is really
that was
awesome.
great.
Yeah,
right? We
super
saw a
excited
little bit
about
of
that.
hesitancy there, and now we're seeing that. And one thing that players have kind of asked for a lot is just that when you're hitting an enemy with Jolt, that kind of animation time where you're doing that flip, it's when she'd be canceled out the most, and it just really feels bad for that Ishtar player. So
Got
now you're going to be getting some immunity frames while you're in that animation when you're kicking off of an enemy.
Earlier in the backflip.
Exactly.
You'll become immune sooner, quicker.
Yep.
After you hit them.
So if you're CC during that time previously and you'd be canceled out, now it's very unlikely to be the case.
Right.
Got it. Cool. Super awesome. That looks like the end of the duo hunter buffs.
That
Moving
is all
in
the hunters.
to some spicy basic attack assassin buffs. So how's my swinging assassins doing? What kind of love are they
So
getting?
we've been basic attack assassins were really strong after 9.5.
Yeah.
So we nerfed them
Yeah.
a good bit.
Yeah,
Buffing
problem.
traditional ability assassins.
And they're still good.
They're still
But
good.
that has kind of inverted a little bit. Now ability assassins are being way more prioritized. So just a small buff here to bring basic attack assassins back with a serrated edge buff.
Got it.
Decrease the cost by a noticeable amount and increase the lifesteal.
Yeah.
The lifesteal is kind of an interesting thing.
Yeah,
It's kind of
it's
a
a big
unique
deal.
feature of that item and that tree. So giving those the lifesteal, giving those gods the lifesteal will really help them stay high health, which is really important for the basic attack assassins, because once they engage, they really got to stay in there and just keep pumping out basic attacks.
They got to box it out, so for sure.
So it's just an item that the basic attack assassins kind of were skipping over when we saw it, nerfed quite a bit previously in the past. So bring that up a little bit.
Cool, cool. And it looks like we have one section remaining. We have been through so much. Again, for those of y'all who are watching, check out the update notes. This is a new thing for us. Give us the feedback, but you can read along with what we've been going through there and see everything in case we missed something.
Feedback
but the last area that we're touching on are just general underperformers, things that just aren't quite hitting how they should in game. So
not very
get
good
into
so
it.
happen to
far.
be
The
two
format
ability-based
is not very
assassins.
Huh? Funny.
Essentially, by the
That's
end,
the feedback, my
through
friend.
all those other sections, we've already gotten
Wrap it all.
pretty much something for everyone in this update.
Yeah.
Every class or role
little-
has had
it's
some
just a
level
little
of
bit
change.
of
little something for
buffs or
everybody.
nerfs.
Everybody's tank gets
The
tickled.
last ones that didn't have any we didn't have any assassin buffs
No.
in this whole patch until right now.
And talking
not.
about items or characters that were overly nerfed at a time, we have these two.
Right. So Bastet was the best god in the game for quite a while.
Oh, yeah.
It was nerfed pretty heavily. That's getting brought. That's getting, a buff here. Maybe not enough to bring her back to where she was
all the
before.
way to there,
But an important note here is that there was a bug with this ability where the first initial hit of Razor
Right.
Whip was not doing the intended amount of damage. That will now be fixed, and all of these abilities will
We just
now.
buff
So all of
Bastet.
her ticks will now do more damage.
Yep.
Got it.
We just
so
buffed an
general good
assassin.
things.
Is that
Also,
what we just did?
Kleena.
Kleena,
getting buffed.
yeah,
And
the jump
that's going to
scare.
be a physical power scaling on her ranged attack, that flickering visions,
There's
which
absolutely no
we're
way
really
we're buffing
hesitant
assassins
to buff
right now.
anything else in her kit.
Literally no way that
the kit still looks
assassins are
crazy
getting
when you look
played
at
in
it,
the
but we
mid
have
lane
not
and
been
we're
seeing
buffing
nearly as much play
assassins.
from her,
There's no
and her
way.
performance in general across many different skill levels and game modes is lower. So looking for a safe place to buff her,
Yeah.
hopefully without overdoing it.
Yeah, and we know you cleanup players who are going to give him a try will like throwing her into the solo lane. So with the scaling buff on, not her ulti, it's something that hopefully junglers utilize a little bit more.
Yes, this does work. Generally gets used much more by jungle Cleanas too.
Awesome. Yeah.
And that does it for all of the various.
Yeah, there we go.
does. Oh, that was so much. So again, check out those update notes. There's a lot of things there. I mean, everything that we just talked about is going to be on there. So if that was hard to follow along with, this is a new process. But we want to give y'all the same information but better. We
Half
want to
of the
block things
stuff
in a way that
didn't
makes
pop up
sense
on
and
the
hopefully help y'all
screen.
understand it more. So let
I
us know
still
what
have
you
no
think.
idea
You
what
can hit me up
how
on
happened
Twitter
to
and give me all the
Upstart
advice,
and
and
Titan's Bane,
we'll continue to change and edit to make this
and-
like the best transfer of information we can. So next up, we have community news, one of my favorite spots, the spot where they just let me talk for like an eternity. So starting off, we already talked about domination a little bit, but I'm going to bring it back up. That's the first Smite night with the 9.11 update, which is dropping next Tuesday, which is the 15th, unless I forgot how to count, which means on the 19th,
think I'll
that
miss
Saturday, you can hop back into domination with all of those cool new changes. So make sure to read them all and then forget them, like I probably will, and play with your friends and enjoy some domination madness. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and we hope to see y'all enjoying that. Let us know if you do, because we're always looking at ways to spice up the Smite night. Next up, we have Golden Bolts voting going on now. So we have our finalists locked in. For those of you who are excited about, the people in your community and the pro players that you love, get out there, vote for your finalists, and make sure that you're showing off or showing out for who you love. I can't talk because I'm too excited. So get out there and vote. Voting is still going on, but it's not going to last forever. And if you want somebody to win, best way to do it is to go vote for them. So make sure you do that. Last, but most certainly not least, if you are still waiting to get into the closed alpha for DKO, that's Divine Knockout, you can do it through Steam now, and it might get you in there just a little quicker. So make sure to jump on over to the Steam page for DKO, and on that Steam page, you can click the Request Access button, which is located under the Join the Divine Knockout PTS, so that you can get into that game and start enjoying it right away. So again, Steam, Divine Knockout, check it out. It's going to be super cool. I mean, I've been playing in that a little bit as well. It's incredibly fun, and if you haven't tried it, I think you'll love it as well. So that kind of wraps the general community news. Now we're moving into the skin section a little bit, and I'm actually joined by a new person on the couch.
It really
We
does
have
make me
Lermy.
feel like
How you
they're
doing,
trying
Lermy?
to save
Oh, it's
a bunch
so
of
excited
stuff
to
for
be
season
here,
10,
and I am
and I
so
just-
excited to
it's
go through
still
these
so far
skins
away.
with the RuneScape skins.
You
And
can't just keep
so
bleeding
many other cool ones
as many
too. So
players as
I
Smite is bleeding.
can't wait. These
Yeah.
are awesome.
You just
It's
can't.
going to be incredible, but we still have a
you
little
have
bit
to
to get
start
through
fighting
before we
back
get there. So
earlier.
just hold on. A lot of cool stuff between here and there, though, because
you gotta start doing things
come on, we don't
faster,
do
man.
lame stuff. It's only cool, and then sometimes like really cool. So starting off, digital loot pack coming
Also,
out, and
smash
also
that
some
link,
SPL
baby.
chat though.
Let's
We are
go.
in the road to Worlds. Phase 3 is like happening. We're working our way there. So November 30th, December 4th.
patch
Make sure
is
you're
making
watching
me
those
anxious,
games. They're going to
man.
be hype. and we're building up to Worlds. January is right around the corner, which is horrifying to say.
I was gonna say, so much stuff to do.
It really is. Yeah, there's going to be just an unmeasurable amount of awesome between here and there, and that, you know, for SPL, that's starting at the end of this month. So really keep your eye on that because the Road to Worlds is on the way. And to tie into that, we have the digital loot pack. So this is one of the things we release every year. That's one of those, like, internally people always like this is value. You know, we try to cram all the cool stuff we can into this digital loot pack. And I think we've done it again this year. I mean, there's obviously all kinds of stuff, like there's cosmetics, there's a bunch of other stuff, but the coolest is the skins, in my opinion. I'm just a skin lover. It's one of my favorite things to talk about on the show.
I also love my skin.
To represent the SPL, we have a new Gilgamesh skin, the Atlantis Leviathan's Gilgamesh. So let's check that out.
Oh my goodness. I
Absolutely
believe
incredible.
this card art got teased as well during the Invitational. So,
nice.
I mean, here it is. We finally got him in the game, and he looks great.
He does. I mean, to celebrate our world champions, we wanted to get this going, and it's just an incredible skin.
That's awesome.
So, you know, this is one of those things where with our teams, you know, with the new team branding and everything, this is one of the first skins we're getting to release under that branding. And we were super excited to have the Atlantis Leviathans chip in their inspirations and their desires as we were working through this and create a product that just looks incredible and represents the team's dominant presence on the battleground really well. So let's hear a voice line.
The tides are turning. It's finally time for the Leviathan to make some waves.
Nice.
I have been summoned from the depths of Atlantis to restore peace to this realm. With the Leviathan on my side, we cannot lose. At last, the Leviathan has awoken.
It's fine.
So a couple voice lines for y'all there.
There we go.
All super cool. And you know, because we always support our communities and our SPL teams, we figured we had to go in game for this one and really show off just how cool this is for our world champion. So let's go in game and check it out.
Wow, look at that.
That skin is so awesome.
Oh, there you go. I was like, are we
Look
gonna
at
show
those
off the logo?
Oh, so incredible.
Oh, damn. Wow. Look at that. That's awesome.
Oh my gosh. Talk about repping the team.
Yeah,
People-
you really will be.
People are gonna know who you're a fan of if you throw this skin out there. That is so. I mean, even just the colors, that blue and yellow looks so good in game.
Yeah, and
All
the
of that.
logos
I
too. They're just
it
awesome
works
logos,
like
right? So to
how
see him
the
rep
other
like that in the
skins
game,
work,
and even when you pop
know,
the one, that's
it's
so
a giant
cool.
logo
that's
plaster
that's
for
swag
sure.
right there, no doubt. So again, shout out to the Atlantis
For
Leviathans.
sure.
Shout out to the this new Gilgamesh skin, and oh man, it just gets you hyped for Worlds.
lot of logo.
So the next
Yep.
skin in the digital loot pack is Shining Dragon Yu Huang, actually. So
There he is.
getting some Yu Huang colors
sweet.
out there. Look at how nice that looks too.
It looks so good. This card art too. He looks mad.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
It's incredible. And one thing I always love about seeing Yu Huang show. Oh my god.
Oh my god, the ring.
Yeah, I love his back piece.
Yeah, the back
Whoa.
ornament. I was about to say it is
Yo.
always incredible.
I don't even like the Jade
That is
Emperor, and honestly,
amazing.
this
I love
recolor
the like, pearlescent
might be better
finishes,
than
too. Those are
that
so
Leviathan
sick. He
skin,
looks really
TBH.
regal, which I mean,
Yeah.
fitting for an emperor,
Oh,
right?
of course. So, and that gold accents it so well. So, an absolutely beautiful skin. Another super awesome thing. So, next up, we have another skin in the digital loot pack, and that is a Yemoja skin, Midnight Waters Yemoja. So, another super awesome
Oh,
skin. Look
snap.
at her.
Let's go.
She's
Yeah.
looking nice.
I mean, spotlight on her for obvious reasons. She is the center of the party. So, I love that like masquerade theme too.
Yeah, where is she going? She's going to a party
everybody
or
all at
something?
once.
I mean, it looks like if I have to build a story here, which I'm going to because I love that. It looks like that's
okay,
her
you can
mansion,
just say it,
and she's
clumsy.
like the host of the party, finally
the
arriving
titties
fashionably
scared
late
you a
down
little,
the stairs.
just a little.
Like everybody's been there sipping tea and eating finger sandwiches, and then she rolled up like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" So super cool skin, super excited about it. Ooh, there it is too.
Oh.
I love those like I don't know. I guess the crystal lanterns. I don't really know what to call them floating behind her, but it looks really good. And again, huge fan of the masquerade theme.
Yeah, that is such a nice look for her. I love it.
Absolutely so good. So yeah, let's
I
listen
think
to
it's
a
pretty
voice
well
line.
done. I just don't think it's for me.
I will bless this world with life-giving
Don't think
waters.
it's for me.
It is in dire need of restoration. This battlefield is filled with filth and corruption. I have come to wash it all away. Yemoja.
Super, super awesome. Absolutely love this skin. And again, a part of the digital loot pack, but that's not all. there is one more in the digital loot pack, and this one is another one I'm super excited about. And unless I'm incorrect, should be a first skin. So I could be wrong because
yeah, I'm looking at here. I'm like, I didn't know this was coming. So like, I'm really excited to see what this is.
So let's check it out.
Surprise for me.
Dragon Lord Lancelot.
Sweet.
Look at
All armored
Lancelot.
up.
Hey, yo.
With the dragon horse, I guess not horse, but the dragon mount.
He's a
I
dragon
would
now.
say usually skins that
so
look like
incredible.
this in Smite
I absolutely
end up
love it.
looking
The
the best
horns and
in-game.
everything, and like
Knock
that
on
blue
wood.
coloring on the mount.
But
Oh
there's
my
like
gosh.
a theme
Lancelot's
that
one of
they
those characters
usually
that
are
came
good
out, and
at,
I immediately
this
was like, oh
falls
my gosh,
into
I
one
can
of
just
those themes.
ride my horse around everywhere all the time. Like I'm just, why would I play anything else? So super cool, super excited about this one. Another
They tend
addition
to do
the
good when
that
it's like
digital loot
armor
pack.
heavy.
And again, it's just an incredible
It's like
skin.
they have like
And,
a really
a
good
hard one to
armor
make
guy
too
or
because
something.
Lancelot's horse that's a complex
Yeah,
mechanic. There's a lot of
Oh.
animation. So
Whenever
that
it's
lance.
armor
that
heavy,
looks
they tend to
beautiful.
do
That is
well.
some nice armor. Oh my gosh, look at the
It
horns.
Yeah, I love the shield there too. That looks
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Dude.
The blue accents are absolutely incredible.
I
And
don't-
yeah,
I
that
don't know
lance,
why
like
that
the
is, but-
four-bladed kind of lance style is just, I can't get over it. Absolutely a fan of it. Super excited. And I believe we have a voice line for this one too. So let's hear that.
Come, Drago. The citizens of this fair village are in peril, and it is up to us to save them. Another day, another realm in need of saving. Well, Drago, you up for another round?
Absolutely love it. Still kind of has that Lancelot character too, which I'm super
I
in love
do
with.
think that in the
So-
last couple of
and
years,
again,
though,
that's all part of the digital loot
Smite
pack, which I think
skin
is super
section
super
has
awesome.
really
It has
started
all
to
four of
look
those skins, and rep the SPL
dated by Smite's
Leviathans,
engine.
show off with the new Lancelot
Particularly in
skin.
the
A lot
last,
of really
like, 2
cool
years,
stuff,
I feel
along
like
with a ton of
it's noticeable.
cosmetics. I mean, you have an avatar, death stamp, loading
You're
screen,
like, oh
player
yeah,
title,
it's
and
an
then
old game.
a divine chest, treasure chest roll.
The
You'll see all of
RuneScape
that in the
skins are
update
gonna
notes,
be
so
great,
don't
though.
don't feel like you have to remember it.
Old games
So
unite,
super
baby.
excited for all of that. But that's not all. That's just the digital
It's
loot pack, which
supposed to
again
look
is super
old.
important and super worth picking up. But we got more
It's
skins
ironic.
to showcase.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
keep going. Next up, Odyssey, Soaring Isles, bringing more skins in. Crazy how long these Odyssey events go, right? Because I feel like it came out forever ago, and if you hit buy all, like what feels like 3 months ago, you're still getting skins from this. And the first of those that you're going to get with this update is Neon Pulse Freya.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, that's so incredible.
Wow, look at the colors on that one. That looks sick.
Super bright.
On the
Oh, man.
background too. Look at all that stuff going
Love her
on.
weapon.
Yeah. I
Oh,
love
yeah,
the
you're
blue
right.
hair,
The
too.
sword is just looking sick. I can't wait to use her basics with that one. I bet it looks really nice when it's all lit up.
Oh, yeah, all empowered and stuff. I bet so. That's incredible.
Oh, sweet.
Oh,
Love the way the colors pop.
love the colors on
Yeah,
this
right?
one.
Yeah.
I mean, neon is definitely true for this skin. That
Yeah,
was
right.
very aptly named. Good job.
Neon
Mikey.
Pulse, Freya. Yeah, no, of course.
It's crazy how there's one stripe of yellow, and I feel like it's such a good accent piece.
It's so nice. The color combo really stands out.
It super does. Let's listen to the voice line.
Someone sending a distress signal downtown. Looks like I'm right on time to light up the night. Another day, another baddie in need of getting their butt kicked. Let's make this quick. Neon Strike.
Neon Strike,
Smite
indeed. So
looks
super cool.
old.
Again, part of the Odyssey. Now this next skin is one that has, it's floated around as a meme. It's floated around in our hearts and minds for a while, and it's finally part of the game. So excited to introduce Magusa Medusa.
Oh boy.
Another one of those where
Oh
you hear,
boy.
you hear it being pitched around and you're like, really? But I love the way this was executed, especially with the chibi Medusa.
Yeah, the chibi style was perfect for this.
Makes so
and
much sense.
The bread in the mouth is so good.
I think the bread is actually on the model too, if I'm not
Oh, yeah, is that
mistaken,
right? I
right?
haven't seen this
So
one in the game.
the geese are so cute. Oh, look.
Oh,
my gosh,
yeah, there it is. It's just the
Look at
one that has it.
Oh my
Good.
god,
That
it's
turned out well.
adorable. Okay, so you better make
Good.
sure
Oh,
not
that's
to
so
let her
cute.
hair anywhere
turned
near
out
your
the best
bread.
by far.
Barracuda,
That
we're
looks the
looking
most
out for
like
you
a
here,
card art,
okay? So
for
be careful
sure.
when you're picking this skin.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, this is kind of a counter pick actually to bun hats because it'll just
so cute.
eat the
Steal the
baguette.
baguette.
Yeah, so super adorable. Kind of crazy how Medusa can go from some of the most horrifying skins in the game to like some of the most adorable. Like talk
That
about
is
a
amazing.
talk about a 360 or no, that's a complete turnaround. Never mind, shut up. Let's listen to a voice line. How about it?
Do you hear all that honking? Oh, wait, it's just my hair. Wake up, my goslings. We
pretty
are
good.
going on an adventure. Call me Megusa.
So
Megusa.
good, actually. That's good. That's
That
good.
is so good. And one thing
I love me a
one
laugh
thing that
that
is
goes
so
on for
worth
just a
pointing
little
out with
bit
this
too
skin
long.
is that it does have a VXG similar to the Jormungandr, the
Oh
Goose
my gosh.
Jormungandr, where she'll just honk.
Oh
So
my
if there's a
gosh.
if there's two Goose on the same team or on opposing teams, you can have
honk
a
at each
honk
other.
off. Yeah.
So you're saying we need to get a full 5-man?
Yeah, I was
going.
is this just the new skin
I
line?
mean,
Oh no.
I'm not saying we don't need a full team of Gooses. So, all right. So next up, we're moving away from the Odyssey, Soaring Isles. We have another piece of stuff releasing in the main patch, which is November 15th, and that is the Hot Devil chest with Devilish Charm, Bear, and Somdi.
Oh,
Oh, sweet.
oh, he
Honk
looks
alert.
I love this.
so cool. Look at that bottle too. Oh
His
my
Right?
horns
God.
in his hair. Oh, it's the snake on the staff.
The
That's
snake
so
has
cool.
horns too.
That's true.
Oh, they match. What a stud! Like, this is just one of those skins where like you look at it and you're like, oh no, he's hot. Like, there's just no two ways around it. Plus, I want whatever he's serving. I mean, I know it's in a skull bottle,
man.
but
I love
Nice.
this.
oh, that looks so
I
good.
always wait.
I love it 'cause you've got, like, some of the
I always
neon
wait for the
spirit, like,
in-game
theme
model. I
vibes.
always
Yeah,
wait.
with the
I
blue
never rely on
accent.
card
Oh my
art, but
gosh,
it
you're
turned out
right.
great.
That's so cool.
Fantastic.
I
Even
really
the
can't wait
colors
to
are
see the
cool.
effects in this one in game at some point too, because like I'm sure that they go crazy
The
with
colors
that
on
color
this
scheme.
Oh, I bet they do.
way
That's how
better
our
than the
teams
Freya
do.
skin.
They're always
Way
pushing the
better.
limit and going crazy with stuff like this. So super duper excited to see this one. And let's hear a voice line for it.
Fret no longer, my fellow felons. The handsome devil has arrived.
Baron's also a top
Let
10 winner.
the party begin. The night is still young, my friends. Let's see if we can't find any souls to liven this place up. You can call me the Baron.
Oh, that voice
you
is, I
daddy.
don't know, that bassy voice
Sorry.
is just incredible. So, and
Daddy?
it fits the skin so well.
Sorry.
Super awesome. So again, that's part of the Hot Devil chest. Moving on, we have a new battle pass with this update as well. So if you thought that there was a short on super cool things to look at, you'd be wrong. And we're diving into that battle pass now. The Cyber Tokyo battle pass with Tokyo Night Ares.
Oh,
That's so cool. I love the
Cyber
projection off the shield
Tokyo,
too. That's
okay.
incredible.
yeah.
Hey, I'm
there's
in the
there's a
mindset.
lot of different
That took me
ways
a
that we
second.
could have gone with this skin, but I love
That
this
really took
direction
me a
of the
second to-
orange and the blue.
get
Like
on
those two
board with
contrasting
what we were
colors really
doing.
make the armor pop. And like you said, especially with those kanji that are on the shield, it's looking
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Plus the mask, it's such a
Badass.
yeah, it's such a classic like a classic style. Oh my gosh, look at it.
Nice.
Oh, the kanji it like flickers. That's so incredible.
He has some on his back as well. Look at
Oh
that.
it does. That's so cool.
Okay.
Oh man, and I love too how, like you can see like especially on his legs there. At least that's where I'm seeing it. Like the pattern on his armor too. Like the
Right.
I don't know what to call it other than that.
Think
It,
it's
just, it
fine.
looks really cool. It
I think
adds a
it's
good
fine.
texture to the metal.
This is sick.
Yeah,
So-
he's so detailed. I love all the little touches that were done to the shield, especially just making that look as cool and as techy as possible.
Yeah, and it looks like the sword is like kind of see-through too, which is super duper cool. So let's hear the voice line for this.
Are they against it?
Version 8.0 is approved for testing. If it succeeds, Tokyo and all of the world will crumble beneath my technological empire.
Okay.
These
wordy.
people follow no path. They have no leader. I will step forward and guide these hollow shells
he's
to
a-
a state
he's a
of true
wordy boy.
humanity.
Oh my god, he's so talkative.
Ares, leader of the new world.
Well, what he plans to do is pretty clear. I don't think he kind of lets you know right up front.
Little-
He's a guy who's proud of his
little
goals. So
necky for
super
me.
cool. So that's the first skin in the
not-
Cyber
I'm not a
Tokyo
big
Battle
mech
Pass.
guy.
Next up, Spectral Oni Kleena. Getting a Kleena skin out here.
Oh,
So
my
good.
gosh.
That is incredible.
This skin line is pretty sweet.
It is. This was a really cool battle pass
Except for that one
idea.
game.
Like
Like that
I'm
one
super
mech
in
game,
love
that's
with it.
really
I
fun.
love the highlighted like red, pink. I don't really know where to land with that, but it's such a beautiful color.
Yeah, we've been talking about the colors a lot, right?
We have been, yeah.
Like, but this one's really sick. I mean, the neon, of course, is kind of carrying through this theme because we are kind of in that new age, right, where everything's a little bit technological. So of course it makes sense that everything's glowing bright and looking as sick as it does.
Yeah. So super cool skin. Oh,
Wow.
That's so cool. And
That
also
is-
kind of
sword.
terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Like
Once
knowing that
again,
this is
it's
Kleena, knowing
mechy,
that this is gonna be
and I
like
don't
doing
really
some
do the
creepy stuff to
mechy
your
Yeah.
thing,
walls.
but I
Like,
do like the
Oh, and
face
not to
popping
mention
out
what
of
her
the wall.
face looks like.
Yep,
yeah,
exactly.
with the transfer.
Oh
my
my
gosh.
gosh.
All the better reason to see it in game. So super cool. Make sure y'all check it out because You're gonna get jump scared by this for sure.
I'm a little bit
let's
nervous
hear the
about
voice
a
lines.
Mech Cleo voice pack.
At last, those arrogant
Could've been way
fools
worse.
are within my grasp. Killing them will be the perfect revenge.
That's totally fine.
If
Totally
the
fine.
intel provided to me is true, then tonight will be the dawn of a new age. A new empire under my immortal rule.
That's actually best case scenario.
Death is
for her
not
voice.
the end. It is the beginning.
Because Cleo plus Mech could have been
Death is
real
the
tough.
beginning.
Could have been
Super cool. I'm
real
super
tough.
excited about this skin. Again, I'm gonna get jump scared by it. There's gonna be a face popping out of the wall. It's gonna be horrifying, and yeah, that's the end of that. So next up in the Cyber Tokyo Battle Pass, we have Rogue Cyborg Izanami. Another one I love Izanami skins.
Oh my god, the
Oh,
angle of this
sweet.
art
That's
is
the
sick.
recon.
Right?
Wow.
Like such an
Put the Mech in
action
the
shot.
background too, yeah.
Yeah, that is awesome. I love the angle that we took for this one, and
That's
especially
always,
with the
the third
colors
one's
again.
always
I
a
mean, we keep
recolor.
going
That's
back to
cool.
it because they're so dang good. But like,
We have a team that is
colors.
just passionate about making
Potentially.
sure that the colors are always
Yes.
popping. And yeah, that like
oh, they do be popping.
They do
oh
be,
my
though.
goodness.
Don't be popping.
oh my
though.
gosh,
They
that's
just
so
don't. They
awesome
never
looking.
Do. They never do pop.
I guess I'm just a fan of neon, right? Neon signs, neon colors, like those always stand out to me. I mean, I literally was like looking at neon signs on the internet like last night. So I'm not bluffing when I say I love neon in general. So like this whole thing is just hitting for me. It's slapper after slapper, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, our team has been owning the direction for this battle pass. I think this has been crazy cool so far.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. Let's hear the voice lines.
We will not be subject to any being's will. We control our own destinies. Tell me, what does free will mean to you? Those with it often take it for granted. Engaging lethal protocols.
That's also kind of horrifying a little bit.
Absolutely.
I guess that's why they use the word dystopian, right? So little scary, but also still cool and colorful. So, I mean, always a win there. One more skin
scary,
to
but
celebrate
still
in the new
cool and
Cyber Tokyo
dystopian.
Battle Pass. Give
My
it up
God,
for Mecha
he
Empress
did it.
Hera.
He
Look
summed
at a
up a
Hera skin
America.
rolling out.
Oh,
That is so.
Oh
look
my
at-
gosh, look at Argus.
Yeah, the painting on Argus.
That is amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. Have we seen Argus like this before? That's so cool.
Yeah, like that whole like dome look, kind of. Yeah,
That
I
is
don't know.
a
That looks
super
new to
cool
me.
card
Can't wait
art.
for that to chase people down.
Please be happy.
I will be getting killed by this Argus, just
Yeah,
so we
exactly.
know.
Yeah. I'm just trying to admire the art. Oh my gosh. Oh,
Nice.
look at her.
Oh, and the patterns.
I was just thinking that.
Okay,
I love all the
okay.
detail work
I
specifically
mean,
that have
that's
been put on
about
the
as good as
walls
it
for
gets,
all of these
probably.
skins.
Yeah.
For
Very
Smite,
impressive.
for card art to transition
Oh,
in
there's
game.
like
That's about as good as
glitching
we
going
get
on
nowadays.
too that I'm seeing. That's so
Yeah,
cool
she's
looking.
a flow walker, so she's got to have those emissives on her
got
to
a
make
little
sure that you
Hera,
know
like,
that she's too royal to be
Labeling
touching the
on her.
ground.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
She'll traverse above the dirt, thank you. So I absolutely love it. And then yeah, like the little accents of pink throughout the blue are just super great to look
I
at.
love the little glitchy effects too. Those are neat.
That's what I'm saying.
Mecha 2.
Let's you know
Does that
let's hear
mean
the voice
Argus
lines.
is Mecha 1?
Becoming technologically advanced does not mean we must ignore our traditions. My city needs me. I must end this quickly and return. Hera, defender of the city.
I love that theme. That's really cool.
Yeah,
Like,
that
I
is
just-
really cool.
I love when the voice back in the lines kind of just like hit like a very specific note, and I think that's really awesome.
Yeah, it seems like there's a stark contrast between her goal and Ares.
Ares doesn't
yeah,
exactly what I was
yeah.
thinking. You're like, are they antagonists? That's kind of sick.
Her dress
Maybe
is like
fighting each
glitching.
other for dominance over Tokyo.
I
who
know,
knows?
right?
That's awesome.
All right, so obviously there's a little more coming out with the on November 15th with the main update, but we'll be back to that in just a second. We're going to jump ahead in time to the bonus update, which is going live November 29th, to sneak peek those before we get into what y'all are all know is coming right at the end. So we're going to jump ahead again. Bonus update, November 29th. This Odyssey coming back at you, always bringing new stuff, never stopping bringing new stuff. Starting
Never
with
stops
Winged
spinning
Machina
either.
Nike. Winged?
Ooh.
Oh, sweet.
That's incredible.
The perspective on this one is so nice with the little person on the hand. That's sick.
Yeah, right.
Cool theme.
It's kind of got like that, like that person
Different.
just awakened them. And
like the
'cause
idea.
It looks like they've been chilling there for a while. So it's like, oh, like, hey, what's up? Do I need to come out of my cave and go save the world or something? Or I absolutely
I mean,
love
Nike's
that.
really good at that. You know, she is the goddess of victory. So.
That's true.
I don't really know
Not a
what
lot
the theme
of
is, but
not
it's like,
saving the world happening when she's
I
called
don't
upon.
know.
That's probably why she's been chilling. It's kind of
Ooh.
wild.
yeah.
I love this. Oh,
Yeah,
the like
that's
stone
different. I can do
technology
that.
thing, because we've seen that in a
Yeah.
couple skins, and I think it always hits.
I still don't really know what it is.
a really
but
nice
it's different.
contrast
It's
as
kinda
well
cool.
between like the old weather and like stone materials and then the new kind of technological energy coming out from her skin. I think that's such a cool like presentation that we've gone with for this, and I can't wait to be using this one.
Right. Another thing that I will never stop being excited about with stuff like this is just, and it's simple, but the moss on the wings and the moss highlighting some of the armor.
Right.
It helps display that age, and maybe that they've been dormant for a while and chilling and waiting for their time. But it's just one of those little effects that
it's supposed to be,
I
like,
think brings the
Mayan
skin together
adjacent.
for me. I
It
absolutely
kind of feels
love it.
like
So,
old,
let's listen to the
ruiny,
voice lines.
like Guardian type thing, you know? Be like a boss fight.
My creators are no more, but my task remains. Protect. Nike, guardian of civilization.
Nike doing as Nike do, and being a guardian, a victorious
Not saying I
guardian.
nailed the
Well, I guess
theme,
not
but
really
like-
guardian, but doesn't matter. Cool voice lines, cool skin, and the moss. I'm still just staring at it. Like, I know it's such a simple thing, but I don't know. Maybe I like moss. Next up, in the bonus update Odyssey Soaring Isles releases, we're gonna have a Pele skin. We have Heatwave Pele.
Oh,
Okay.
Dang.
all right. Okay, hello,
Beach
Pele.
Vacation Pele. What's up?
Yeah, she
Having a
looks
gr-
like she's having a great time. I wonder what she's got in that glass there. I'd like to see. No, maybe one for myself.
Historically,
I'm down.
I want the
These
coconut
skins
being
in
passed
games
over. Just got a whole coconut drink
tend
being
to
handed
suffer
down. Like,
from low
that's a winning
pixels.
vacation right there. And appropriate, too, if you're living in the state of Georgia and it
we'll
was like
see.
80 this week for whatever reason.
Yeah, right.
So,
Who wouldn't go for a nice cool beverage right now?
right? I'm super feeling it. So, man, like, just this skin kind of has that, like, living your best life vibe to it, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, and she is.
Got the shades, too.
Honestly,
Too cool for the
they gave her
battleground.
shades
And those like
to
water
fix
daggers,
the face
those are
problem,
awesome. That's like
which
kind
is
of
kind
opposite of how
hilarious.
she normally is, right? She's got the lava normally, but now we've got like that crystallized water going on. That's so
Yeah, that's
sick.
really cool.
Yeah,
Kind of
that is
hilarious.
super cool. Again, I mean, I guess I always say this. I absolutely love it. Like, it's like a go-to catchphrase, but it's just one of those things where I'm a fan of this stuff. You know, the process behind it. Because I've sat down and talked to people who make
it's
skins
more
and
like-
stuff, and
it's more like
it's such
a
an
lack
incredible
of
process
skin
to go through.
compared to a
Like
skin,
first
but
sketches to final
as far as the
creation.
beach
That
themes are
like when you know the
concerned, I think it's probably
process,
the
it's
best
so
beach
hard
theme
not to be a
skin,
fan of
actually.
things, even when they scare you.
So.
Well, this
Sorry.
skin's not very scary.
This one
is a
isn't.
nice
I'm
skin.
thinking of Kleena. But yeah, let's hear the voice lines.
Oh my gosh! The sun is shining and it is such a beautiful day! Finally, time for some me time! Time to make a splash!
Time to make a splash. Absolutely love it. Super excited about it. And again, that will be coming with the Odyssey Soaring Isles November 29th in the bonus update for 9.11. So we have one more skin coming in the bonus update, and this one is actually part of the Bit Fortune chest, and that's Bit Fortune Ganesh.
Bit fortune?
Ooh, look at him.
Oh,
Who's he taking
nice.
down there? It looks like a kaiju
think
fight
I
almost. Is that a
understand.
city in the foreground?
It kind of looks like it, yeah. Well, unfortunate for the block below the kaiju, but better that the kaiju be, you know, smashed there than continue to rampage. So.
Yeah, surely Ganesh is protecting someone there.
Oh yeah, when aren't they, honestly? So I love super cool. Whenever oranges appear in these technological skins, they're always so impressive.
Those little cute like mecha eyeballs.
Oh my gosh, yeah, he
Once
does
again,
have cute
from
mech
I
Mech
love
eyes.
this
theme.
line so much.
I
It's kind of
don't
like video
super
game
do
themed,
mech
just kind of meta
themes,
considering
but I
it's
do
part
like
of
the
a video
colors.
game.
Yeah.
I
This
think it's a
might
really,
actually be
really
the
fun theme to
brightest skin
explore,
of
and
the
I love the
day.
way that we've gone with this
It's
one
hard
with
for
the bright
for
oranges,
colors to
and
get
like you
bright,
said, the
so.
eyes are kind of a really fun take on some of those glitch skins from before.
Yeah.
I also love the ears, the way they did those. They're kind of like the domes.
Right.
So
Kind of feel like speakers almost.
yeah, a little bit. Super duper cool. I love this line of skins, like you said, always incredible. Let's hear the voice lines.
Alright, guys, this level's looking pretty
Absolutely
easy. Are you
frickin'
sure we're
not.
not just gonna go AFK halfway through?
Absolutely not.
I'm so
No.
hyped for this raid.
No.
Think we'll get some legendary loot this time?
Hell,
Get behind
No.
me and follow my lead.
that's a quick mute.
Can do, will do,
mute.
and yeah, it's gonna be good. So another super
cool
skin. Super excited about it, man. I can't even talk, right? And this will be the last skin coming out with the bonus update. So
VGS
we've been
is
through
so
a lot of cool
important
stuff.
to make an annoying
We're
voice
super
back.
excited about all that we've shown off. I think it's all been incredible, but we're not done. Y'all know we aren't.
There's a reason why
done.
we're wearing these hats.
There's not. It was a mistake.
Oh,
We all just wore them. we all just wore them here.
Just came into the studio independently wearing them.
Yeah, Lermy walked in and we were like, you too? So it was crazy. But no, you know what's coming up next.
That would
and if
be
you
great.
don't, here's a trailer to
great
showcase it
hypothetical.
for you. See you in a sec.
Rated T for teen.
It's a cute trailer. It's a very cute trailer.
We are the King of Dragons.
Now this has a killer spec.
Hotter than the flames of Zamorak.
I know, therefore I am.
I'm the PKer, you're the loot.
It's a cute trailer.
I'm at a loss for words, which is rare for me. It's just, we've been holding on to this forever. This has been like a lot of our crossovers, like everything we do. You know, it happens early. We work on it for a long time, and we dump passion into it. And this has definitely been one that I know that all of us on the set here have been really involved in and really sharing opinions in. I mean, sitting in on meetings talking about what do we want in game, how should it look, working with the people from Jagex who have all been incredible. I've not had a bad conversation with anybody from their team, so we've just been looking forward to this for so long, and the fact that we get to sit here and talk about it now is blowing my mind. So I have like a 15-year-old account that I like brushed off and was going through, because I made a new account on Old School recently, and I could talk forever. We're gonna move on and talk about stuff. You don't want to hear these stories. So we have a RuneScape event in here, which we're super excited about. Like events of the past, this is when we're going to get to go in, get skins, and unlock rewards for getting these skins. So all of the skins have kind of a special mechanic that we'll get into in a little bit that I'm excited to tell you about. But that mechanic is free to play. It works only with the skins from this event, but it'll make more sense when we get into it. But it's super cool. There's also a ton of cosmetics. We have music, and it's all as RuneScape themed as we could possibly make it. So the full description of the event is also on the update notes, so make sure you're checking that out. But it's absolutely incredible. There's a loading frame. There's a music theme which pulls some of your favorite tracks from the RuneScape legacy. Just those tracks that when they come on, you're immediately taken back to like, oh my gosh, like I remember that. Like I've nostalgia tripped so many times that I think I broke my leg. It was incredible. So we have cool death. I mean, I could go over all the cosmetics in detail, but it's better for you to see them. So there is also, and I think you know the most about this, Clumsy, so I'll let you talk about it, but there's also a text system that we're playing with too with this, right?
Yeah, so, I mean, when we were working on the RuneScape event, there were so many of us that have played RuneScape from back in the day just like, I know you were saying you have an account, I have like a max level on one of my characters as well.
Yep.
And just, there were so many ideas that we wanted to just throw in there, whether it's the cosmetics or just like new features and stuff, and you alluded to one of them previously that we're going to get to in a second. It's like a lot of preamble to say. We wanted to just keep throwing things at this. We wanted to really just make players who have played RuneScape before or who don't know just like a little glimpse into what it was like, or a little bring you back to those days. So I think the feature that you're getting to, which is here, we added a little text feature that you can do in RuneScape itself. So whether it's VGS or actually if you're going to use the in-game text commands, there's a couple of different iterations of like color and effect. So you can type like cyan, colon, like a text effect like glow, colon, then like write a letter out or like make them kind of jump and kind of wave in ways or scroll in ways that you'd see in RuneScape itself. So we brought that into Smite just as a fun plus one.
Yeah, it's one of the, it's incredible. It's one of those that we didn't have to do it, like this is just, but we were so passionate working through this, and that's such a core memory of the experience of RuneScape that we just had to, like the teams were like, oh yeah, we're gonna make it happen.
Can we do it? Yeah. Then let's do it.
So, and the instructions for how to do that are again on the patch notes, so you'll be able to do that when the game goes live. But if you were ever haggling for armor or food or something in the GE, then you'll be familiar with what we're talking about.
Trading to trim your armor.
Oh yeah, all that classic stuff. So that's super cool. But you know, we could talk about these things all day, but let's just get to the skins. We want to show you all the skins too, and we're going to start off with Blessed Dragonhide Neath. So let's check that out.
Ooh.
So good. Got the D-Hide rocking, got the bow.
Yeah, so, you know, when we were discussing what skins we wanted to do into the game, it was very core that, you know, we wanted to do a couple of different iconic things, which we're gonna show you. But we also wanted to get not just specific characters from the game, which we do have a little bit here, but we wanted to get the different armor styles, right?
Yeah.
Because RuneScape being like an RPG, you know, it doesn't really have a holy trinity, but it's got that trinity of damage values of your armor classes.
It's
right?
so bad,
between
it's perfect.
leather, like we see here, and the kind of the hunter aesthetic versus the cloth and the
Man,
mage versus
they
the
nailed-
armor-based,
they nailed.
tankier kind of side. We wanted to
bad it
represent
is.
all of those kinds
great.
of game styles. So
Holy.
Neath here is going to be that traditional hunter. Her personality style in the voice that you're going to see in the voice
so
script
funny.
is a little bit more of that PvP-oriented character, and she's wearing that
Smite
Black
was
Dragonhide armor set.
destined for
Yeah.
this,
Her
man.
magic longbow.
Destined.
Super cool. And I mean, again, we also worked really hard to kind of emulate the visual style too, especially of old school, because again, the point we were having a nostalgia trip the whole time. There were so many people, there were conversations that branched off of our work on this that were just reminiscing about kind of the experience of it. So we wanted to pay homage in all the ways we can, and matching the aesthetics there, and also with the audio quality, which our audio teams told us, you know, they use a lot of sounds that Jagex provided, as well as making all the sounds they used match thematically to what these skins look like and should remind you of with RuneScape. So it's all, I mean, so much work went into this, but let's hear the voice lines.
I've taken down gods before. I expect a ton of great loot. If this doesn't work out, it might be time to farm that dark bow. A new PvP arena. Nice.
Nice.
Nice. So obviously the PvP centric character here, but
Yep.
yeah, just super cool. And again, another thing that I want to highlight is you'll see some characters coming up that are actually like, you know, NPCs in the game, some of the notable ones. But along with representing the armor styles, we also wanted to make sure that, you know, a huge element of RuneScape are the players. Like, it's not just notable NPCs.
Right, exactly.
But, so it's cool that we're representing the armor types, but also having some characters in here that you can hopefully be like, oh my gosh, like I ran that armor set for a long time.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it helps that feeling of like, I guess I'm going to say nostalgia again. You're going to count how many times I say that, and then I'll tweet I'm sorry that many times. But
I think that's a really good point, though, because we have, you know, 3 kind of characters in the RuneScape skins that are kind of characters in the game, and then the Neath and the Bologna, you know, are more so the player character, something that you might envision yourself as within RuneScape.
So super duper cool, and yeah, just so excited about it, and excited to move on to the next skin that we're going to showcase, King Black Dragon Cerberus.
Oh,
Look at our boy.
I love this art. The way the fire is stylized too is so iconic.
It's so good.
Yeah, it has all those sharp edges and stuff. It's incredible.
Yeah, and as we're going to see with these skins, you know, whether it's the modeling team and these models or like the art team and effects, kind of doing our best to portray those old school graphics, not just in the model, but in the effects too. So, you know, shout out, I know, to Chris who worked on this one, and the entire art teams, sound effects like you talked about too. We really wanted to hit the mark for this kind of, you know, old school RuneScape feeling, but kind of brought into Smite.
Yeah, so it's just, again, the amount of love and passion that our teams pour into this kind of
Love
stuff
and passion, baby.
has been
Love and
great. And the cool thing is, like I mentioned earlier, we worked very, very close with Jagex on making sure that we would pass them something, they would give us feedback, we'd go back and forth, and it was always such so good. But it was always such an experience of pure joy. It was never like, there was never any argumentativeness over what things should look like. It was two groups of extremely excited people working hand in hand to make something we could all be proud
I don't know
of.
what that means.
And it just shows in every one of these. It reflects that
But
style.
it's happening.
This is just such a
Whatever that
dope look
means.
for Cerberus too. Like even on top of all the nostalgia, like turning him into this 3-headed dragon.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And like
so
you said,
cool.
you can see like the fire effects too, how they're reminiscent of the RuneScape
Yeah,
experience.
exactly. If you're old RuneScape players, like look at the little glow that's coming out of his muzzles. That's like kind of like the alk glow and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like it's super reminiscent.
All right, let's hear the voice lines.
Must we continue this mindless and endless squabbling? Run along now, Bob. It seems there is to be another battle. We are the King of Dragons.
And yeah, if you heard that there, you know, he's
He
talking
is
to
for
Bob
sure
because the
wearing a
KBD in
cape.
game
He
is
sure
very
is.
close friends with Bob the Cat.
Yeah.
And you know, that's one of the things with the KBD in general is that, you know, he may be a boss monster, but he's kind of, he knows he's going to keep dying. He kind of just doesn't want to be doing the same thing over and over again. He's done with that loop. But if you're going to fight him, well, he's going to put his damnness up to fight you back.
Oh yeah.
And you'll even notice there that he is wearing the cape as well.
Yeah, he's got his cape on. So another cool thing to shout out that can be said about all of these skins, and it's super important, is these are crossover skins, right? We pour our hearts into these. All of these have VXGs that are very, very singular. They all represent a feature from RuneScape or a part of that skin that I think anybody who's played the game would recognize. So as you get into the game, for those that we can't show you today, make sure you check those out. But we're going to continue showing you new things. Next up, Gnome Child Vamana.
Show it to me. This guy's already being memes across the boards everywhere that I'm seeing. So we were discussing, what characters should we do? Right? And we were up in a lot of discussions. I'm not going to go and say any of the alternatives that are there because who knows, right?
Yeah.
But everyone was kind of on the same board of how do we not, can we do this and not do Gnome Child? And then there was some conversation. He's not really in the game. He kind of is. They added him in some special events and stuff like that. But he's just so iconic. And
prolific,
Jagex as well is are we going to do this? It's yeah, absolutely, we're going to do it, and we're going to go all out. So we've got the Gnome Child. He's Vamana. You can only imagine what he's going to look like in the ultimate. Yep. And he's got a pickaxe because he's got a lot of different themes going on. He's even got his fancy boots. You can see over there, the fancy shoes. He is going to be kind of extraordinary.
Yeah, shout out to, for one thing, with the fancy boots and that whole cave and barbarian village. Shout out for teaching me as a young kid the importance of password protection and bank pins and stuff.
Yep.
I was like a child and I was like, bank pin, good idea. So it's just shout out to that, reminiscent even there. But
so yeah, we talked about Neith kind of being the PvP skin. We talked about King Black Dragon. He's obviously the monster. Gnome Child is a little bit esoteric. He's a little bit all around the place, but we also wanted to keep him a little bit of a theme of he's got a little bit of skilling going on. The other characters may not have the skilling aspect. We have some more stuff to talk about that later.
Yeah.
But he's kind of just there. He's got his pickaxe. He's got a little hatchet in one of his abilities too. He's got a little bit of water going on. He's one of his gimmicks is he's just an adventurer.
Yeah, he's just all over the place. He's just living life to the fullest. So let's hear a voice. Let's hear the voice lines.
Have you ever tried making wine out of raisins? We can walk, run, row, or fly, but never lose sight of the reason for the journey, or miss the chance to see a rainbow on the way. Just a gnome child, just like all the others.
Yeah, this is an absolute blast recording this one. Yeah, I'm not going to give things away, but we heard some voice lines of him being maybe a little bit more cheerful. He's all around the place.
He's all around the place. And this, again, with how much this is, I mean, I've seen memes everywhere. It was giving me life after the trailer to watch seeing memes pop up. We have to go in game with this one. We can't.
Oh,
not.
nice.
So
we are.
Let's get in there and see
That's so
Gnome
awesome.
Child Vamana in the game.
There he is.
Yeah, there you go. He's using that pickaxe and he's charging forwards. Ooh, is that what does he have on his back right here?
I don't know. It doesn't look like the blue cape he was wearing
Does that look
before.
like maybe a fire cane?
It might.
And he gets big with him
Gets
too.
big, he's stomping away there.
Look at him. The effects are so great. He's mining Odins. Oh my gosh, that's so awesome.
You feel
what
like
an incredible
RuneScape
skin.
is a
And
cult.
now-
RuneScape
there it
is
is.
a cult.
There, so we got the VGS. So yeah, he's gonna go there. He's using that pickaxe to mine away.
Yeah. So, if you're having a slow lane, get your farm, go back under tower, and, you can
right up next to the wall. What is he getting over there?
You
That's
rock.
awesome. Oh, there you go.
Yes.
You can see the wavy text. That happens with the VGS. It's also there for you as the text commands.
Yeah, so
but look at that go.
you can type it and just general chat. You can also use the VGS like
Oh,
you just
look at that
said, so.
scrolling. So the VGS, I believe, it will randomize between the different effects.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see there. And I think if you use his 3, so that one is actually he's flinging out a hatchet. He's kind of chopping away at his enemies.
So you you can really get your skilling in on this one.
Some water going on, a little bit of fishing reminiscence.
It's so good.
He's big.
Oh my gosh.
True.
That's
All right,
amazing.
now do the backing animation while he's small. Let's see that. I think if I.
Oh, we're doing it. There you go. So you've seen that, in the trailer a little bit. For RuneScape fans, you know exactly where he's going. He's home teleporting away.
Yeah, and that backing animation is true through all the skins. So we thought that was the most fitting, and we thought it would be in line with kind of the humorous aspect of this to make sure that even characters like King Black Dragon have that same backing
exactly.
animation.
We talked about this. Like, if we're doing this for all characters, should the KBD also do it? It's like, hell yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah, why would he not? It's incredible. So super cool skin. Just I love it, dude. Like I said, you're literally gonna see me, like, if I'm getting pressured in lane, I'm gonna get my farm, I'm gonna sit under tower, and I'm gonna level mining, because why not, you know? Yeah. So, great way to do it. So, next up, we continue down the trail of amazing RuneScape skins, moving on to Wise Old Man Merlin.
I am such a big fan of this skin, and just like the character in the game. He's actually got so much going on in his story. It's really awesome to kind of delve into. And so we talked about the leather, we talked about the armor.
The
Wise Old Man Merlin,
man.
He's
also known as
he's got the magic vibes.
Yeah.
He's gonna be our magician.
He's our magician, and he also wore the same hat as us today, so that's embarrassing.
Yeah, he's one of the characters that you see in game. He's an NPC, and you go and find him in Draenor. This is what he looks like. We hope we did our best.
It's so good.
to bring him into the game.
Yeah, and I mean, again, an incredible effort. I love the way his glasses look and like how big and bulky they are. It just, again, our team poured so much effort into this. I love seeing it all the time.
It turned out so beautiful too. Like just even looking at the way that the light reflects off of those polygons, right? Look at those polygons.
Those polygons.
You can count how many there are.
Oh my gosh, and they're beautiful. It's worth counting all of them. Let's hear the voice lines for this.
If I were to perish, do build me a proper mahogany coffin. I wouldn't be seen dead in a cheap oak or teak one. Ugh. This is a dangerous place, just as the wilderness was tainted by Zamorak. The presence of the gods have corrupted this land. Dionysus is the name. What? No, not the god of wine.
Yep, if you didn't know that Dionysus is actually the real name for the Wise Old Man Merlin. In fact, I think the very first line there was directly from one of the scripts in like one of his quest logs. In fact, if you look at the scripts in general for all of these skins, you're going to find Easter eggs all around the place that are coming straight from RuneScape itself.
I mean, if you look at the tweet that should be going live around now that features this card art, it might also be a direct quote because super big fan of all of that. So, like with the last skin, I just love all of these so much that I want to go in game for all of them. So we're going to go in game for Merlin too. Let's check him out.
Yes.
Yeah, as you know, Merlin in Smite, he's kind of the master of 3 different schools of magic. So we kind of gave that aspect to Wise Old Man Merlin. It made complete sense.
The fire looks so good.
See, I love just watching all the different aesthetics. Like, we took a lot of references from RuneScape. Obviously, you're going to see a lot of similar things. Even like the symbol above his head when he teleports. He's the master of all of it.
Yeah, it's so good too. Plus, I mean, y'all heard some of the voice lines. I was able to get in and hear some of the voice lines of this one just while casting abilities. And I mean, this stands true for all of the skins, but I'm going to say it anyway. They're all incredible. So...
There you go. You can see him. We're just like, what's he going to do for his VGS? He's going to just use different types of magic. So he might be high alching. He might be doing something else here and there.
So love the high alching. It's so good.
And what's that cape on his back as well? I mean, that's different from the one that we saw before, right?
That does. Weird. I guess they just have different capes maybe. Who knows? But yeah, I love it. All of the effects are cool. I think one of my favorite with this, it's either the twin dragon flame, because that just looks, the fire effect looks so good, and it's just so much of what I remember. But if I had to choose another one, I think it's the air bolt. Oh, the fire beam looks so good too. But the air bolt, because the projectile just looks so true to the projectiles that I think of when I think of RuneScape, especially old school. When you're standing there firing.
There he is backing. Look at that.
So good. Oh my gosh! So just another grand slam with all of the effects, and again, they went out of their way with all of these to really make sure that their arcane sounds and for Merlin specifically, the arcane sounds really came through well without sounding too dark or horrifying or anything. Because Merlin's not a horror guy, but when it comes to using arc or like void stuff or that dark stuff, our audio team just reached out to me and they're like, hey man, I just want you to know we put in so much work to make sure those sound effects came across the way they needed to. And they use dark analog synth sounds and all kinds of stuff. So,
and one more note while we're here, which is a little bit on a tangent, but I know there's a lot of people, from the RuneScape forums or from Smite also asking like, hey, Merlin's there, but there's even a Merlin in RuneScape itself.
That's
like, why
true.
did we choose Wise Old Man? And one of the reasons is just like, while there are named characters in RuneScape that might even be use the same names as we have in Smite, it made a lot more sense for us to kind of choose characters that are a lot more iconic, right?
Yeah.
no one really wants to see the King Arthur and Merlin of RuneScape. Maybe that's like 10th or 20th down the line.
Right.
We wanted to do things that made a lot more sense or a lot more iconic.
Yeah, some of those experiences that whether you put 4,000 hours into RuneScape or whether you played it for a week or so, just characters that you ran into and were a part of your experience regardless of where you're from. And of course, we tried to include things that were a little more nuanced, a little more late game, but we wanted to make sure that fans of all durations, I guess, could look at this and just fall in love with it. So I agree that I think we made the right choices on those. But hey, shout out, y'all guys, shout out how much you love this, and we'll do everything we can to keep making them in the future. We love doing that.
This thing still got legs on it,
Continue forward without seeing the last skin in the RuneScape
Keep
event.
going.
And it's one that I am very personally excited about. We have Rune Armor Bologna.
There we go.
Look at that.
So
it's
this
so
is
good.
so this is another one of those kind of like player characters. In fact, Bologna, like the voice lines and everything there, it's going to be just the classic adventure. The classic, like, you are a player, you want to just do a little bit of everything, a little bit of bossing, a little bit of skilling. You've leveled up and you've got your rune armor. You've got, in fact, it's Bologna, right? So you're going to see a lot of different types of weaponry, which we're going to see in a minute. You've got your glory ammy and stuff like that. Shout outs again to all the different teams that helped make this possible. And I also want to do a special shout out to Kevin Friddle to help with all the voice scripts. He helped a ton to make sure that we can get some really fun RuneScape references in there.
Look at that. You got the God Sword.
Yeah, I was going to say, what weapons did you have? Well, I know there's some discussion on this. It is the Granite Maul.
It is the Granite Maul,
hammer.
not a Rune Maul.
It's not anything else.
Yeah.
We've got the God Sword right there, right, the Armadillo specifically. The hilts are a little bit more, generic for all of them because that's just something to make to help with Bologna. But she's got her trimmed rune armor too with the full helm.
She happened to find the one person who was actually trimming rune armor, so you got lucked out on that one for sure. But let's go ahead and hear the voice lines real quick.
What's the plan for today? A little fishing, maybe some smithing, or how about we hunt down some gods? Time to log into my favorite game. Wait, is this RS4? The adventure never ends.
Oh my gosh, so exciting. I love the memes too. That wait, is this RS4? Like another thing. I'm gonna keep praising Jagex. Maybe it's because I've played this game so much, but they were all about working with us to get some of these funny things in there. Every time we proposed something, if they didn't immediately agree with it, it's because they were like being like, or we could go further and have more fun.
Without a doubt.
We definitely worked a lot to include a lot of that. So we just got to go in game at least one more time. So
we got to do it.
Let's see Bologna in game. Let's do it.
Talked about several weapons. She's also we're going to see some more.
Is that
she's got her rune kite shield.
The trimmed rune kite shield.
She's got the Granite Maul. Of course, she's gonna. You can't take Bologna and not have the Abbey Whip.
Oh yeah, Abbey Whip was a guarantee. And then we got the RS banner. It's so good. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, I forgot about this one. How are you not gonna have an in-game RuneScape dance, right? Like. There was a talk about like we just do this for all of them. We wanted to play things up a little bit. Oh my gosh, seeing this in game is
that was some of the harsher discussion that we had. I say harsh, right? Like some of the most critical was with so many skilling animations, with so many different emotes or in those animations. It was so hard to narrow down the ones that we wanted to use for each character because there was such a vast amount of things that we could have. We were like, oh, we should do fishing, we should do mining, we should do smithing. It was just. It felt like we had an endless list, and whittling it down to 5 was definitely a task.
Even for like the cosmetics, like you might see a couple things there that you're happy with. In fact, hopefully all of them. But there's a lot more that we wanted to do, and who knows, right?
Yeah, at literally every discussion, there was so much passion brought in about like we want to do this, we want to do that, and we couldn't do them all right away. That's just not how it works. None of us have the free time to do every single thing we want. So we really whittled it down to what we thought would be the best first running. But hey, again, it's up to y'all how much you like this. And if you like it a lot, we're going to keep going with it. So that's the hope anyway. So super excited about this one. But
Me too. That's cape, by the way.
I know, another cape.
I think we're going to be chatting about that.
Maybe right now.
Right now?
Let's do it right now. So y'all saw some different capes in there, right? Capes are a big part of RuneScape. You got to get those level 99s. You got to complete those hard quests.
Yep.
So we thought that a RuneScape crossover would not really be complete without the aspect of capes or the aspect of a little bit of grinding. Because again, that's what RuneScape is known for. The people who play RuneScape ought to have like at least some level of degree in math. Because there'll be people who are like, well, let's see. To farm the way I need to, I'm going to need 4 million experience in cooking. And if I break that down into lobster, like, it's crazy. I have a cousin who plays this game endlessly, and that is what it's like hearing, like, when he talks about this to me. And it's incredible.
You want to be efficient.
Yeah, you want to be efficient. And it's so cool. So we wanted to add all of those elements in that we could, because we already had the text, we already have the skins, we have some references. So we want to show you now the event page and show you that we have capes and quests and grinding hella. So this is what the menu is going to look like. I mean, our UI people did an incredible
Look at
job.
the gnome in the background.
You got gnome child's face.
Oh my gosh.
He's just hanging out.
But you're going to have this tab here,
Holy,
which is, for all the different capes, there are 69.
Nice.
And you can nice.
Holy,
And you
have to
can wear
grind,
them on
for
every
sure.
single RuneScape character. So all 5 of the skins coming in this crossover,
Including the King Black Dragon.
including the King Black Dragon.
Wow.
And yeah, you have to grind to unlock all of these. There are some that come with the skin purchases. So
Right.
if
There's
you have
just
2
a
of the
lot.
skins, you'll get a
They're
special
they're
cape.
like
If you have
super
all of the
grindy.
skins, you'll get a special cape. And then
They're not
each
little
of them
ones.
starts with their own colored cape, I believe.
They're like
but
big.
Exactly.
you can grind, and you can grind on
Play a
any
hunter,
god, let it be known. But you can
299
grind to earn
times.
every single one of these. Obviously, there are some that say like get 1,000 kills as Neath or something, and you have to play Neath. But for all of the others, grind them however you want, and then equip them on your RuneScape characters to flex, because I mean, again, it's just absolutely. We
Summon
added
750
69
slash
nice capes.
juggernauts.
There's so many of them.
Yeah. So to be clear, when you purchase some of these skins, you'll get the flat colored capes by themselves.
Yeah.
When there's very special capes like we saw on the Merlin with the anniversary cape, or I think Vimana's got like the cabbage cape, which these are all capes from RuneScape itself.
Yeah.
Some of them from OSRs. Those are for doing very special activities with those gods and skins specifically. But then you've just got not 69, but several of the skilling capes, all the skilling capes in OSRS as well as RS3, which are going to have you just do a whole bunch of stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
They might have you just walking around for agility and traveling. They might have you, right, so there you can see for the Blessed Dragonite Need skin, you can get the Obsidian Cape specifically.
Yeah.
But for the skilling capes, you've got the basic versions for doing all sorts of stuff. And we wanted to really be careful because obviously there's a whole bunch of grinding involved. These cape skins, like you said, these are only going to be able to be used on the 5 RuneScape skins.
Yeah.
And you can only wear one at a time. So I just wanted to like preempt and let you guys know that we understand that there is a lot of grinding involved for a lot of these capes. We're not expecting you to get like all of these unless you are, you really want to, and that's fine. That's badass. In fact, we might be encouraging it we'll see what we can do out there.
A little bit of content.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit of content, a little bit of
content.
contest. You can see Fire Cape is kind of another one-off one for killing fire giants. But yeah, just, a lot of them are going to be kind of gained over time in a short period of time. A lot of them are going to be gained, especially with the master capes. They're all 3x the difficulty of the normal skilling capes. And that was done very purposely. Those ones are going to take even longer, months, if not more than that. But the thing also to remember is that if you want to grind specifically for one cape, it is going to be a lot faster. So just keep that in mind. We're not expecting to do all of them at the same time. And also, if you are going for 1 or 2 capes, you're most likely making progress towards several capes at the same time. They may look like some crazy values, but hey, it's a RuneScape crossover event, and well, grinding is kind of at the heart of it.
Yeah, like Harrison said earlier, I mean, I can't wait to see where the mathematicians of the Smite community come in and figure out exactly like what's the most effective way to grind out these capes. I can't wait to see what you guys
Give me
come
that
up
cabbage cape. I saw that as Vimana somewhere.
I'll take things that
good.
people are not going
again,
to do
we really poured our
for
hearts into this. And you
1,000,
can see here
Alex.
too in the bottom corner, we have music tracks playing. They have the RuneScape main original theme. We have
Just not gonna
Inferno,
happen.
and then of course Sea Shanty.
Yep.
So there again, we took everything that we could that we thought kind of symbolized that experience and that memory.
Cabbage cape.
Cabbage cape. So we're just. I don't know. I'm beaming with pride over here for what I get to show off of all of the incredible work that every team that had any part of any of this put into it.
While we're on the capes, special shout out to the modeling and tech art teams. A lot of this tech is really new for all the capes and getting the icons in. That definitely wasn't easy. And a massive shout out to the programming team. All these different goals and quests, that's a lot of extra work we needed to put in. And QA as well, especially. I know Lermy was working with them specifically to just make sure that we get these all feeling good.
Huge shout out to the team. I know it took them quite a long time to go through and confirm that these worked.
Right.
I remember seeing a thread pop up a long time ago where they said, all right, what capes are we doing? And somebody asked, can we do all of them? So
I have
Sea Shanty
to
2 is playing right
assume
now,
that
by the way,
it's
so I just
permanent
can't get
and
over
not
that.
just for the event.
But yeah, but somebody said, can we do all of them? And
There's no way
they were like,
they're that.
yeah, we'll make it work. Don't worry about it. And they did, and they came
Out of
through,
touch.
and they made it
It has
incredible.
to be
And
for, like,
I
an
think it
everything. Like,
really
you buy the event and this is just part of
showcases
the
the heart of RuneScape in a lot of ways. So if you haven't played RuneScape, it's something that you should definitely try
even
out,
with
especially
it,
in
it's
the next
still ridiculous.
6 days as we wait for the update, which is literally next week. So be ready for that.
Crazy.
But it's such an incredible game and such an incredible piece of gaming history. I think that still is active and vibrant today.
Yeah,
so
it's still one of the top MMOs.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the game is incredible. So, and we were honored to be able to work with them. And so you have seen the RuneScape crossover. We've been tantalized by the idea of sharing this information. So this has been something that I've been a pleasure talking with y'all about, because I know that y'all were up there on the forefront of making this stuff happen too. So big shout out to all of the teams who worked on this, and super, super excited to see it live literally next week or Friday in PTS if you want to hop into PTS and check it out.
Yeah.
So either way, again, it's going to be huge. We're excited to see y'all. And there's so much more than just the RuneScape stuff, too. We saw a new battle pass. We saw the digital loot pack. We're on the road to Worlds. We have all that crazy balance.
Yeah, I was going to say all that balance.
Yeah, that was no small amount of balance. So check out the patch notes for all the information we went over if you missed anything.
We'll go over
other
the patch
than that,
notes
I look forward to seeing y'all grinding for capes. And if you get a cape, tweet it at me on Twitter, please. Like I want to know who's getting capes, because that's such an incredible thing. So either way, thank y'all so much for tuning in for the show, and I guess we'll see y'all on the battleground. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
All right, I got a couple of things that I gotta say. I gotta say some things first. You know what I'm saying? Let me see if I can find the prices. Did they list the prices on the official website? Let me see if I can. Purchasing 2 or more RuneScape skins will grant you another cape. Purchasing all of them gives you a cosmetic bundle. Capes. Each RuneScape skin will come with its own cape. Capes are unique cosmetic items, can only put on the RuneScape skins. There's multiple ways to collect them. You can quest for them. Check the achievements tab or the capes tab in the events. Guys, I think those capes are only for the event. Guys, I think those capes are only for the event. The cape features section on the website does not indicate outside of the event. So I can't imagine. I can't imagine that that's true. But the wording on the official patch notes is definitely not good. It's not very open text to the idea. They do not list out how expensive it is, by the way. I'm looking for it. They say that the battle pass is going to be 600 gems, but they do not list out how expensive the RuneScape skins are going to be. If I had to guess, that means they're going to be expensive. If I had to guess. All right, just quick notes. One, this patch note format, I think everybody pretty much objectively did not like. Oh boy, bacon crumbs. Okay. I guess I'll quickly turn that. I don't want to. Okay, let's turn that off for a second. Oh God, why is this happening? The patch itself was unfortunately underwhelming. That's a bummer. Balance-wise, there was like 2 or 3 significant changes. There was like a Chronos buff was pretty big. I think there was a couple other characters that was like, oh yeah, they'll be a lot better now. But there was very little done to change the pace of the game. It's still going to be a 10-minute meta. There was a whole lot of work put into domination weekend Smite night game modes. And Conquest got a whopping red buff nerf. And I understand that, like, Season 10's coming up and there's gonna be a bunch of changes, so they don't want to put too much effort into the map and stuff now if they're gonna be changing so much stuff. But also, like, not to be doom and gloom, but Smite has lost 40% of its player base in 3 months. Like, you don't have to be doom and gloom to be like, that's bad numbers. It's just bad numbers. So, like, it's great that you want to hold off until Season 10, but, like, you should really think about bandaging the bleeding while we're waiting. So just overall, very disappointing patch. Like, the format was a disaster, but like, that's fine. It was new and they'll get used to the format. But the content of the patch was like very skin heavy. The changes were not Smite needs overarching changes. I got excited when they were like ranked conquest, and then they were like, we're gonna do a reset. Doing a reset doesn't matter if you do not undo the elo cap. Just click the goddamn number. Elo cap 3,500. Elo cap 5,000. Nobody will reach 5,000. Just, you don't even have to change the programming. Just make it 10,000. Make it a massive number that nobody will ever reach. You know what I'm saying? Just type in the new number. Very frustrating. Just it's a very frustrating patch on the whole. The things that need to be changed aren't getting changed, which means we have to wait another month. And unfortunately, because this is the November patch, in December, they're going to be focusing on very small SPL focus changes for the worlds in January, which is fair, as they should. And then in January, we're going to get the pre-patch for Season 10, and then we'll get the Season 10 patch in February, which means now we basically got 3 months of Smite with no new gods and no significant changes to the game. And it's just very frustrating. It's very frustrating. Like, I love this game, and I hate this game, and it's very frustrating. But what are you going to do? Anyway, this is your last opportunity, guys, to click the link before we gift out the subs. Smash that link in the chat that was just posted. And then I'm going to do a double take on how many link clicks we got today. For every 100 link clicks, we are going to gift out a sub to the Twitchiest community. So let's make that happen. Let's make it happen. All right, let's see where we ended up today, huh? Da-da-dun, dun, da-da-dun, dun, dun, da-da-da-da-dun, da-da-dun. Do-da-do-do-do-do-do-do-do, nina-noo-noo-nina-noo. All right, we got, drum roll please. Hey, we got 600 link clicks, which means I owe you guys 6 subs. Heck yeah, baby. Let's free some owls from their present prisons. Well, thank you guys for coming out to the stream today. I do appreciate it. Thank you guys for all of your love and support. I know it was kind of a frustrating end with the patch notes there, but never forget that I love streaming. Streaming is my passion. You guys keep the stream dream alive, so big flexes for each and every one of you. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I will, of course, host another Smite streamer for you guys here, so you can keep getting your viewer points, so you can keep hanging out with the community and having a good time. Hope to see you all bright and early tomorrow morning, and we will go over the patch notes tomorrow, probably after our workout break. Is probably what I'm imagining. We'll do some Smite ranked in the morning, some STL, then we'll probably do our workout break, and then we'll come back and do a patch notes review. Probably is going to look like the schedule that